I guide the truck into the alley behind my shop, and under cover of darkness, bag by bag, I stuff everything into my spatial ring. 100 cubic meters of space gets loaded up with potatoes, rice, flour, cooking oil, emergency medical kits, cases of beer and liquor, and I still have room left. I pack Zhao Lihai's body measurement data sheet into my storage pouch right next to the ancient positioning crystal so I can hand it to Iron Dome the second I arrive. Everything's ready by 9:30 p.m. Alarm set for 11:40. I lie down on my folding cot knowing that multiple parties are now paying attention to my otherworld goods. Yi Zhiqiu's Institute, Huang Wenbao's group, the Zhao family. I need to build a hidden, secure, and legal resource network between both worlds. Fast. Alarm goes off. I jump up, splash water on my face, gear up, beast tooth necklace around my neck, positioning crystal in my hand. Phone says 11:58. Close eyes. Wait. Midnight. Consciousness off. Eyes open and immediately something is wrong. It's cold. Not Fresh Mountain morning cold. Underground too near about to become a skeleton cold. Damp, dusty, pitch black darkness in every direction. I squeeze the positioning crystal. Nothing. Not even a tingle. The three-layer glow that usually hums against my palm is completely dead, like something is suppressing it. I try again. Nothing. First time ever the crystal has failed. My heart starts hammering. I pull out my flashlight from the spatial ring and click it on. The white beam cuts through the darkness and reveals a massive ruined palace. So big the flashlight can't even reach the far walls. The place is covered in murals, but every single one has been destroyed. Slashed by blades, scorched by fire, smashed by brute force. Faces of carved figures have been chiseled off. Animal heads have been chopped away. This wasn't random destruction. This was ritual. Someone did this with hatred. Broken stone pillars lie everywhere like fallen giants. The ceiling is lost in blackness above me. The entire place is sealed shut. No doors, no windows, no exits. But somehow air is still flowing normally. I search every wall. Tap every stone. Check for hidden mechanisms. Nothing. Solid rock everywhere. So here's my situation. Positioning crystal is dead. No exit exists. And I'm trapped in what appears to be an ancient cursed palace that someone really wanted to erase from history. Options. I could kill myself to trigger a forced return to reality. That's the nuclear option. Otherwise, if I just wait one real-world day, for days here, the automatic pullback should kick in. Problem is I have no idea how long I've already been here. Just as I'm running through worst-case scenarios, my flashlight sweeps across a wall and catches something. An irregular groove cut into the stone. Too precise to be natural. Definitely man-made. I stare at it, and something in my brain goes ping. That metal medallion. The ancient one I found at the bottom of the dragon's nest storage pouch ages ago. I dig through my pouch and pull it out. Hold it up to the flashlight beam. Shape, size, edge curves. Perfect match to the wall groove. I line it up, take a deep breath, and push it in. The entire wall starts shaking. Dust rains down from the ceiling. The wall splits open like a stone mouth. The medallion pops back out and clatters to the floor, and behind the wall is a pitch-black tunnel stretching into nowhere. Cold air blows out carrying the smell of dust and ROT. I pick up the medallion, stand at the tunnel entrance, and stare into the darkness for a very long time. Every horror movie I've ever watched is screaming at me, do not go in there. But there's literally nowhere else to go. Deep breath. Step forward. The tunnel goes on forever. Both walls are covered in more destroyed carvings and text, all unreadable. My footsteps echo off the stone in a way that makes it sound like someone is walking behind me. After about 10 minutes, I start seeing bones on the ground. First just a few scattered pieces, then more, then more. Then the entire tunnel floor is carpeted with skeletons. Every step produces a sickening crunch of dry bone that echoes through the silence. My palms are soaked with sweat. My heart is trying to escape through my ribcage. But I force myself to keep walking because there's no other option. Worst case, I die and wake up back in my shop. Not the most comforting motivational speech I've ever given myself, but it'll have to do. The deeper I go, the weirder the bones get. First section, normal human-sized skeletons. Fine. Expected. This is a bone tunnel. I've accepted my life choices. Middle section, winged skeletons. Massive wing bones spreading out from rib cages like fallen angels. Then horned skeletons with curved horns still wearing fragments of metal rings. Then skeletons with arms and legs twice the thickness of humans. This wasn't just a battle. This was a full-on fantasy world war. Then the monster bones show up. There's a snake skeleton over 10 meters long coiled in the middle of the tunnel, most of its ribs chopped apart, with a rusty sword still jammed into its skull, just casually sitting there. Like decoration. The ground is littered with broken weapons and armor fragments, snapped swords, crushed shields, twisted spearheads, cracked chest plates. Some are rusted to garbage. Some have weirdly maintained their metallic shine but are covered in hairline fractures. At first I'm tiptoeing around everything trying to be respectful. After 5 minutes, I give up. There's too much. You literally cannot walk without stepping on ancient war debris. Then my inner scavenger goblin awakens. I spot a sword that's still holding its shape. Rune engravings on the blade, bone material handle. Nobody's using it. Nobody's been using it for probably thousands of years. I put on my work gloves and start looting. Broken sword? Yoink. Dented shield? Into the ring. Half a chest plate? Don't mind if I do. Big monster bones? Only the premium chunks. My spatial ring is still half empty, and these materials are definitely not ordinary metal. The dwarves are gonna have a field day examining this stuff. As I go deeper, the bone count actually decreases, but the quality goes way up. The last few skeletons are terrifyingly well-preserved and massive. One humanoid skeleton is over 3 meters tall with 4 horns on its skull, each horn carved with dense patterns that glimmer under my flashlight. Next to it lies a two-handed greatsword in perfect condition. No rust, no cracks, dark gold blade gleaming with cold light. I squat down to grab it and nearly throw out my back. This thing weighs over 100 pounds. I use both hands and every ounce of strength just to lift the handle. Into the ring it goes. The tunnel ends at a half-open stone door. I squeeze through sideways and enter a circular chamber the size of 2 basketball courts. A dozen complete skeletons lie on the floor, each one different and bizarre. One is especially slender and delicate with vine-like patterns carved into every bone. It immediately reminds me of Selene the elf. My chest tightens for a second. But the weapons in here? Chef's kiss. Complete battle sabers, two-handed longswords, ornate longbows, jet-black spears, vicious double-bladed axes, wands with dark gemstones embedded in them. Every piece in pristine condition. There's a half-height kite shield with a dragon engraved on it using some kind of black metal inlay. And in the corner, a dwarf warhammer. The hammerhead is bigger than iron domes, but the rune style is identical to what I've seen in the Dwarf King's Hall. The handle reads, "The forge fire never dies," in ancient Dwarvish. I'm having a full archaeological Christmas right now. I also find spatial rings and storage pouches scattered around the bodies. One ring catches my eye, dark red, different from all the others. I pocket that one separately and sweep up everything else. Then I notice what's at the center of the chamber. A circular elevated platform with a metal stand holding a fist-sized green orb. Not jade, not emerald. Some kind of semi-transparent crystal with thick green light particles slowly swirling inside it. When my flashlight hits it, the particles get brighter, like they're responding to the light. This thing SCREAMS, important plot item. I clean out every last piece of loot on the floor, weapons, armor, even the runic horns which I PRY off the skulls, sorry dead guys, and then approach the orb. My hand reaches out. The instant before I touch it, a wave of absolute terror slams into me from the platform. Ha 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 ha, a voice explodes inside my skull. Ancient. Insane. Cackling. I freeze solid. My clothes are instantly soaked with cold sweat. After countless ages, just as I was about to perish, a living being finally arrives. The voice echoes through my brain like it owns the place. Once I absorb your vital essence, I'll have enough time to break the final seal. The heavens have not forsaken me. A pressure like the entire universe just decided to sit on my chest crushes down on me. My knees buckle. My teeth are chattering uncontrollably. Sweat is pouring off me in rivers. I try to speak, but all that comes out is a pathetic whimper. I'm thinking, okay, this is it. I'm dying again. At least I'll respawn back in my shop. Then the voice suddenly stops. Confused now. Wait, that's not right. How can you be this weak? Someone this pathetically weak cannot possibly pass through the 4 races combined seal. Weaklings literally can't enter this place. It's impossible. Human, I'm starting to find you interesting. The crushing pressure eases slightly. I grab the edge of the platform and wheeze like I just ran a marathon underwater. Are you a person or a ghost? I gasp out. Don't scare people like that. Don't you know I'm a coward? You're quite amusing for a human, the voice says, actually sounding entertained. Do you not know who I am? How would I know if you're a person, a ghost, or a what? Interesting. You don't know who I am, and you still dared to come here. You think I wanted to come here? I ended up here by accident. By accident? Impossible. The voice sounds genuinely baffled. The seal outside was placed by the 4 greatest races of the continent working together. Anyone below a certain power level physically cannot enter. You're a human who hasn't even reached beginner level. You couldn't touch the seal's threshold, let alone break through it. This makes no sense. Yeah, buddy, welcome to MY Life. I teleport randomly from another dimension. My targeting system has zero quality control. Last week, I landed on a beach. This week, I landed in your cursed prison. It happens. But I can't exactly explain interdimensional travel to an ancient sealed evil entity, so I keep my mouth shut. No matter, the voice turns ice cold and hungry. Weak is weak. I'll take what I can get. For races, I will have my vengeance. When I break free, I will lead my armies to invade Aldous once more and annihilate you all. Now become my nourishment. A horrifying suction force yanks me onto the platform. I slam into the metal stand hard enough to knock the wind out of me, and then something starts pulling my life force out of my body. I can feel it leaving. My arms go cold. My vision blurs. The flashlight falls from my hands and clatters to the floor. Well, this is death number. I've lost count. I close my eyes. Fine. Die, respawn, try again. Just gonna hurt a little. Then something warm flares up. In the middle of all this freezing death energy, something inside me, or on me, suddenly wakes up, radiating heat like a tiny sun igniting. And oh, the ancient voice goes from triumphant to absolutely terrified in a millisecond. Impossible. What is that? No. Stop. Yeah. The scream cuts off at its peak like someone hit the mute button. Total silence. I'm lying on the platform drenched in cold sweat, gasping like a fish on a dock, head splitting open with pain, temples throbbing like something's trying to claw its way out of my skull. I just lie there for a long time. Eventually my breathing steadies, my legs stop shaking, and I drag myself upright. The terrifying voice is gone. Completely. Like it never existed. What just happened? Something on my body. The beast tooth necklace? The medallion? Something else? Scared an ancient entity so badly it screamed and died. An entity that was sealed by 4 entire races working together. An entity that talked about leading armies to conquer the continent. And something on little old Chung Dong, the guy who can't even complete a basic combat aura cycle without his elbow getting stuck. Something on me made that thing go, nope, and evaporate. I have so many questions and zero answers. I pick up my flashlight. The metal stand is covered in dense cracks from base to tip. I reach for the green orb, and the instant my fingers touch it, a wave of cool, refreshing energy floods through my entire body, refilling everything that was just drained. It feels like drinking ice water after walking through a desert for a week. Incredible. I lift the orb off the stand. The second it separates, the metal stand lets out a crack and crumbles into gray powder. The green orb sits in my palm. Its internal light particles now brighter and pulsing with a slow rhythm, like a heartbeat. Into the spatial ring. VIP corner. Do not mix with the regular loot. I search the entire chamber one more time hoping for an exit. Nothing. Solid walls everywhere. I bang on them with my entrenching shovel. All rock. So I sit down next to the platform, pull out compressed biscuits and water from my ring, and settle in to wait for the automatic return timer. Hungry? Biscuit. Thirsty? Water. Sleepy? Lean against the wall and nap in a room full of ancient warrior skeletons. This is my life now. When I get bored, I practice my combat aura. Sit cross-legged, circulate the energy the way Iron Dome taught me. It's actually gotten stronger since I first learned. I can feel the warm current clearly without even closing my eyes now. I push it through my arms 3 times, and it still catches at my elbow joint, but the stutter is getting shorter each time. Progress. I inventory my haul. Multiple unopened spatial rings, finely crafted. Weapons that are better than dwarf-made. That special dark red ring. The dark gold greatsword that weighs as much as a person. Runic horns. The ancient dwarf war hammer. And of course the mysterious green orb. Iron Dome is going to lose his mind when he sees this stuff. After what feels like forever, I'm dozing against the wall when the familiar white light finally blooms from my feet upward. Finally. Flashlight off. Eyes closed. Consciousness out. Wake up in the storage room. Check body, fine. Check items, all there. I sit on the edge of my cot and think. Phrases sealed that thing together. Phrases. Elves, dwarves, humans, beast folk. That's exactly four. The most powerful, intelligent races on the Aldous continent all joined forces to lock away one being. And I, a random interdimensional commuter with the combat. Power of a wet napkin, somehow teleported inside the seal, accidentally triggered the entity, and then something on my body scared it to death before it could eat me. The medallion from the dragon's nest opened the tunnel door. Was that a coincidence too? Would I ask that medallion? I flip open my notebook and write down everything. When I finish, I lean back, close my eyes, and whisper two words to the ceiling. That was insane. The Aldous continent is truly full of wonders. Morning. Tax office. The lady behind the window stares at my 7 million yuan declaration form like I just handed her a ransom note. Business is that good, boss Cheng? You just opened and you're already moving this kind of money. I slide over the bank statements with the calmest face I can manage. Got lucky. A few big orders. Everything's documented. She stamps everything, hands me the receipt, and says nothing more, but her eyes are screaming. This man is either a genius or a criminal. Lady, if you only knew I'm running an interdimensional import-export business with dwarfs, you'd need a whole new form. I walk out, stand on the steps, look up at the sky, and think. Too many complications in this country. Need to clear my debts and get overseas fast to set up a proper cover story. Next stop, warehouse hunting. I drive my rented box truck out to the suburbs and check 3 places. I pick the one at the far end of the storage district. 480 square meters, 6-meter ceilings, electric roller door, basic shelving, good ventilation. The manager is a bald 50-something dude chewing beetle nut, mumbling through the contract terms like his mouth is full of marbles. 32,000 a month, 3 months deposit plus 1, 6-month minimum, utilities on you. I sign. I transfer. Key goes in my pocket. I now have a staging area for my cross-dimensional logistics empire. Back at the shop, reality check time. My entire legal income so far is one transaction, the Zhao family armor deal. 7 million sounds great until you subtract taxes, debt repayment, and warehouse costs. I'm left with maybe $1 million, and at the rate I'm buying supplies for each crossing, 10,000+ per trip, that money's gonna evaporate. I need this shop to look like an actual business. Right now it's just a money hole with a fancy name on the door. Solution: go overseas. Pretend to source exotic crafts and specialty goods from foreign markets, and smuggle the otherworld items in with the legitimate imports. That way I'll have customs records, shipping receipts, supplier invoices, a complete paper trail. If this business scales up, nobody can poke holes in it. I write, overseas trip, in my notebook and underline it twice. Afternoon. The door chime rings. Yi Zhiqiu walks in. Same gray hoodie, black pants, canvas briefcase. She glances at the elven silver candlestick and dwarf metal vase I put on display, grabs a water from the fridge, drops 2 coins on the counter. Classic Yi Zhiqiu entrance. We end up standing outside the shop door smoking cigarettes and watching the street. There's an antique fair happening at the exhibition center next door, so foot traffic is decent. I decide to poke the bear, casually, while flicking ash. Ms. Yi, those ancient texts your institute found in South America. Any connection to known Earth civilizations? Cuneiform? Oracle bone script. Her cigarette hand pauses mid-drag. Long silence. Then she takes a slow pull, exhales, and speaks in the flattest voice possible. No connection whatsoever. Completely independent. No evolutionary lineage traces back to it from any known civilization. Not Egyptian. Not Sumerian. Not Indus Valley. Not Oracle bone. Not Mayan. Nothing. She looks at me. It's an independently evolved symbol system, but its linguistic structure is extremely mature. Not primitive at all. It looks like a writing system that developed over thousands of years. Our linguistics experts spent 6 months analyzing preserved symbol clusters and concluded that its grammatical structure doesn't match any Earth language. We haven't found the match yet. It cannot be matched within any known linguistic framework. She pauses. That's why we're called the Unknown Ancient Civilization Research Institute. Some things may simply not be Earth civilizations. I take a drag. Say nothing. She stubs out her cigarette, picks up her briefcase, nods at me, and leaves. I watch her disappear around the corner, and the pieces click together. She's not interrogating me anymore. She's showing her cards. Her institute already knows this stuff isn't from Earth. They're not going to expose me. They want to use me as their access point to these non-Earth artifacts. I went from being investigated to being recruited, and nobody even asked me to sign anything. Evening. I'm loading the truck when a black Audi A8 pulls up. Grandpa Zhao gets out with his cane, Zhao Lihai trailing behind him like an obedient golden retriever. The old man walks through my shop at glacier speed, examining everything, until his eyes lock onto a decorative longsword in the corner. See, when I brought back those 3 armor sets from the Dwarf Kingdom, I also brought 3 matching swords, 2 long, 1 short. Zhao Lihai bought the armor and 1 longsword. The other 2 I stuck in the corner as decoration. Never even put prices on them. Grandpa Zhao parks himself in front of that longsword and basically enters a trance. Reading glasses on, fingers tracing the vine engravings, examining the forging lines. Zhao Lihai sees this and immediately pulls me aside. My grandpa has this thing about ancient weapons. Sees something good and he can't walk away. Can you custom make a sword too? Sure. Any specific requirements? Nothing too fancy. Same style as the armor. Just shorter and lighter. The old man can't swing anything too heavy. Tell your craftsman to use his judgment. Then he transfers 50,000 for the deposit. My phone buzzes. I glance at the notification and mentally increase my overseas trip budget by another tier. Grandpa Zhao finally puts the sword down, walks over to me, and drops this line. Young Chung, this metalwork is absolutely extraordinary. I've spent most of my life collecting, and I've never seen forging at this level. It's like some kind of paradigm we simply don't have. Come to our house sometime for tea. Some kind of paradigm we don't have. This old man's eyes are sharper than Yi Zhiqiu's entire research institute. He doesn't care where it comes from. He just knows it doesn't fit anything that exists on this planet. The Audi drives away and I stand in the doorway thinking. Right now he's curious. The day he gets suspicious is the day things get complicated. That night, I finally remember. All those spatial rings and storage pouches I looted from the skeleton chamber are still sitting untouched in my spatial ring. I spread them out on my bed. 7 spatial rings for leather pouches. The pouches are so old the leather is cracked and falling apart. That dark red ring stands out immediately. Different color, different feel. The surface has an extremely fine ring of runic engravings in a script that doesn't match dwarf or elf writing. Older, stranger, completely unfamiliar. I try pushing my consciousness into it. The instant I touch the surface, a gentle force bounces me right back out. Like a password-protected lock that's politely saying, access denied. I try the other 6 rings and 4 pouches. Same result across the board. Either no response at all, or I can sense there's a space inside but can't open it. The original owner's consciousness imprints probably haven't faded, or they need some kind of special chant or key. I am not forcing these open. If any of them have defensive mechanisms and they trigger in my tiny storage room, I'll blow up my own shop and probably half the antique market with it. Everything gets wrapped up and tucked into the deepest corner of my spatial ring. Future Chengdong's problem. Tonight I'm crossing over without new supplies since last time I got teleported to that freaky sealed palace and never delivered anything to the dwarves. All those supplies from before are still in my ring, plus the mountain of ancient weapons I looted. No need to buy more. Gear up. Beast tooth necklace on. Crystal in hand. 11:58 p.m. Eyes closed. Midnight. Consciousness off. Eyes open. Pine resin and dry grass fill my nostrils. My feet sink into a soft carpet of pine needles. Giant conifer trees stretch overhead with slivers of moonlight cutting through the canopy. In the distance, the dark red silhouette of the dwarf mountains. I'm close this time. Good teleportation RNG for once. I activate the positioning crystal, 3-layer glow flashes, spatial ripple, and boom, I'm standing in the king's hall. The hall is empty except for 2 dwarf guards. I ask where Iron Dome is. The king is at the experimental fields. I walk out to the fields, and what I see makes me stop in my tracks. The hillside that used to be barren dirt is now a gorgeous green checkerboard of neat rows and thriving potato plants. Green leaves ripple in the wind like waves. Dwarves are working everywhere, weeding, watering, recording. Iron Anvil is squatting at the edge of a row, scribbling notes on sheepskin parchment with the focus of a PhD student defending his thesis. Iron Dome is standing on the high ground surveying his kingdom of potatoes. Mountain wind blowing through his braided beard. He turns, sees me, and his face splits into a massive grin. Brother Chum, every single sprout made it. All of them, even more uniform than the first 5 acres. Not one dead plant, standing next to him, looking at what used to be. Will these things even grow? Skepticism transformed into rows upon rows of healthy green life. The satisfaction hits different. We did this. A guy from modern Earth and a dwarf king literally solved a civilization's food crisis with potatoes. I pull out all the seed potatoes from my ring. Iron Anvil inspects them and gets excited. Denser eye buds means even more planting coverage. Then I hand over various vegetable seeds. The colorful commercial packaging looks absolutely ridiculous against the medieval mountain backdrop. Iron Dome holds up a single cabbage seed between his fingers, squinting at it against the light like he's examining a diamond. The elves grow something similar. Leafy greens. They love that stuff. But we dwarves have only ever grown mushrooms. In caves, no sunlight needed. You're telling me this little thing can grow under the sun? Let's test it. Clear a small plot next to the potato fields. Short growing cycle. Cabbage can be harvested in 1 month. If it works, dwarves won't just have potatoes, they'll have salad. Iron Dome hands the seed bag to a young dwarf miner and pats him on the shoulder. The young dwarf cradles that bag of seeds with the solemnity of a man carrying explosives. His face says, I will protect these vegetable seeds with my life. Back in the King's Hall, Iron Dome calls for Iron Anvil and Iron Stone. They show up fast. Iron Anvil is barefoot with dried mud all over the soles of his feet from the fields, and Iron Stone still has sparks in his beard and smells like charcoal. He was clearly dragged straight from the forge mid-hammer swing. I place the item on the stone table. The ancient dwarf wore hammer. It lands with a deep, heavy thud that echoes through the hall, not the sound of ordinary metal hitting stone. Something resonant. Something old. Iron Dome and Iron Anvil both step forward simultaneously, hands hovering over the handle without touching it. They hesitate. Pull back. Hover again, like they're afraid it might bite. Iron Anvil leans in until his nose is practically touching the metal surface. Magnifying lens on. His scarred, calloused, burn-marked hands. Hands that have forged thousands of weapons. Gently trace the rune patterns with the tenderness of a man touching a holy relic. He murmurs to himself, reading the ancient symbols, and then his eyes reach the forging inscription at the base of the handle. He reads it. He goes rigid. His face transforms from concentration to pure shock, the kind of shock that says, this thing should not exist. This warhammer was forged by my ancestor. Iron Anvil's voice is literally trembling. The toughest dwarf craftsman I know, hands that have forged thousands of weapons, is standing there shaking like a leaf. This forging inscription, the forge fire never dies, Khazir Ironstone's hammer. It's the exact same format as the inscription on the hammer my father passed down to me. That family symbol at the end, only direct bloodline descendants can engrave it. This is my family's forging signature. No other craftsman in all of Aldous can forge it. The stone hall goes completely silent. Iron Dome steps forward and stares at the warhammer. I can see emotions churning behind his eyes, but he's forcing himself to stay composed. Iron Anvil is cradling the hammer with red-rimmed eyes like he's holding a lost child. I figure it's time to explain. I found this hammer in an unknown palace. There was a sealed tunnel full of skeletons, humans, elves, dwarves, beast folk, winged ones, horned ones, every race you can think of. At the end of the tunnel was a circular chamber with about a dozen complete skeletons. The hammer was lying among them. Then I start pulling stuff out of my spatial ring like a fantasy Santa Claus. Ancient dark gold greatsword, clunk on the table. Ornate longbow with vine carvings. Elven style, string long gone, but still gorgeous. Jet black, three-pronged spear made from some bone metal hybrid. Double-bladed axe with beastfolk totems on the handle. A magic wand with dark gemstones. A kite shield with a dragon engraved on it. Each scale individually inlaid. The dwarf elders swarm the table. Even the two guards at the door are craning their necks to see. Iron Dome picks up the dragon shield and taps one of the scales with his finger. "This metal is lost to Aldous," he says, voice eerily calm. "It's called obsidian steel. Meteorite iron tempered with dragon breath. Lighter than fine steel, but harder. The ancient dwarf records mention it, but the formula and forging techniques were lost 10,000 years ago. This shield has at least 20 dragon scales, each one individually forged and inlaid. 10,000 years. I just casually pulled a 10,000-year-old artifact out of my magic backpack like it was a souvenir from a road trip. What exactly was that palace? I ask. Iron Dome puts down the shield, pulls up a stone stool, sits down, and places the warhammer on the table. "That palace you found is almost certainly the Death God's Hall, where the four races' allied army sealed the leader of the undead race during the ancient war. Called it. For races. But I keep my mouth shut and listen." Iron Dome's eyes sweep across every ancient relic on the table, then settle on my face. "By Aldous rules, anything you bring out of the seal is your war spoil. But," he pauses. His big hand gently pats the warhammer. "Could you return this hammer to the dwarf race? We'll trade anything for it." This is the Forge Warhammer, the symbol of every dwarf king throughout history. Each king wielded this hammer until my ancestor carried it into battle and died in the Death God's Hall. After it was lost, I've been using this replacement. It's master grade, sure, but compared to the Forge Warhammer, not even close. This is Iron Dome, the guy who can crush a stone-armored lizard's skull with one hand, asking me with a tone I've never heard from him before. Not a king commanding, a descendant pleading with a friend to return his ancestor's legacy. I don't even hesitate. "Iron Dome, bro. Just take it." I push the hammer toward him. "The dwarf race treats me like family. Don't say another word. It's yours." Iron Dome freezes for a second. Then he grins. He grabs the hammer and stands up. "Good." He raises it above his head and the hammer responds. Sensing dwarf royal blood, it erupts with a dark red glow that fills the entire hall. Every dwarf in the room sucks in a breath. That hammer has been waiting 10,000 years for a dwarf king to hold it again. "From this day forward, you are an honorary elder of the dwarf race," Iron Dome announces, handing me an elder's token. "Keep this." Then he sits back down, pours us both drinks, and starts telling me about the ancient war. Over 10,000 years ago, invaders from another world appeared on the Aldous continent. Another world. I keep a straight face. Takes one to know one, I guess. They called themselves the Undead Race, but not like the mindless walking skeletons of the Undying faction. These were flesh and blood beings. They looked similar to humans and elves, but their bodies carried the power of death. Everywhere they went, forests turned to wastelands, rivers became pus, corpses reopened their eyes and fought for the enemy. The air filled with a rot that never faded. The four races fought separately at first. Elven magic couldn't resist the death corruption. Human cavalry was overwhelmed by tides of reanimated corpses. Beastfolk berserker rage was meaningless against an army that didn't stay dead. We dwarves sealed our mountain entrances and hid underground for years, surviving in mining tunnels like rats. Then an elven king united everyone. His name is lost to history. The elves might still have records, but our dwarf archives only call him the Verdant Leaf King. He used life magic to lead the allied army, pushing the undead main force step by step into a valley fortress. Then he and the dwarf king Khazir Ironstone performed a joint sealing ritual never attempted before or since. Elven life magic, dwarf runic forging, human war barriers, beastfolk shaman totems. For types of power forced together to create a seal strong enough to lock down the entire fortress. Half the allied army died in that battle. The elves suffered the worst. After that war, they could never maintain their Golden Age territories again and retreated deep into the elven forest. The dwarves lost countless master forgers and runic artisans. Ancient techniques were lost forever. The Forge Warhammer disappeared. Humans rose to prominence because they had the most survivors. Beastfolk recovered fast because they breed fast. Iron Dome takes a massive swig of drink. The Aldis you see today. Humans are the majority. Beast folk are the troublemakers. Elves and dwarves are the ancient races hiding in remote corners. 10,000 years ago, it was the opposite. Elven magical civilization and dwarf forging civilization were at their peak. Human city-states were just vassals of the Elven Empire. Beast folk were still nomadic tribes in the Monster Mountains. One war changed everything. We didn't win against the undead race. We traded half our population for a seal. He places the hammer on his lap, rough hands tracing the runes on the handle. My ancestor died in that battle. His hammer vanished with him. We always assumed both were consumed by the seal. He led the final sealing strike. That was his style. He looks up at me and smiles softly. Never thought you'd bring it back. Then I pull out the ancient metal medallion and set it on the table. Iron Dome's face goes completely blank. Not composure blank. System error blank. The Dwarf King, who's seen everything, just froze. Where? Did you get this? Found it in a black dragon's nest. Iron Dome picks up the medallion, flips it over. On the back, there's a scratch so faint you'd miss it unless you knew exactly where to look. His finger lands on it immediately. I made this mark when I was little, he says quietly. His voice isn't the booming king's voice anymore. It's soft, almost fragile. My father left this medallion on the table. I was playing with a little hammer, imitating him, and I struck the medallion by accident. Made this scratch. Father didn't scold me. He just laughed and said, "This medallion might be passed down to me someday." So leaving a mark early wasn't so bad. He turns the medallion over in his hands. That was the last time he smiled at me. After that, he never came back. Oh God. My chest is physically hurting right now. Iron Dome's father had this medallion. His father went missing and the medallion ended up in a dragon's nest. Now I've brought it back along with the ancestral war hammer from the sealed tomb where his grandfather died 10,000 years ago. He pushes the medallion back toward me. My ancestor died in the Death God's Hall. And now, thanks to you, I finally know my father's last trail. The war hammer in the Death God's Hall. My father must have been searching for it when he disappeared. Iron Dome stands up and places both hands firmly on my shoulders. The dwarf race owes you a debt that can never be repaid. Every elder in the hall stands. Iron Anvil is clutching the ancestral war hammer with red eyes, but this time, he doesn't look down. He stares straight at me. The elders silently bow. I have never been in a situation like this. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. My fingers are nervously rubbing my knees, and after an eternity of scrambling for words, I finally blurt out. Can you guys please stop looking at me like that? You're scaring me. Iron Dome picks up the medallion one more time, studying it for a long while. Perhaps your arrival in Aldis was not an accident. Perhaps you were chosen. He places the medallion back in my hand. This medallion has already bonded with you. Since you could use it to open the sealed door, it's accepted you as its owner. The ancestral spirits of Aldis have no objections. Keep it safe. And keep all those ancient divine weapons too. I hold the medallion. Cool metal against my palm. I think about the moment I pressed it into that wall groove in the dark. If it hadn't bonded with me, maybe that door would never have opened. And I pulled this thing out of a dragon's storage pouch and tossed it in my bag without a second thought, completely unaware that it had been waiting for me. I hand over all the food and supplies I brought. Rice, flour, oil, liquor, everything. Plus, all the broken weapons and armor scraps from the tunnel. Everything goes to the dwarves. I give Ironstone Zhao Lihai's custom armor specifications. He hands me the finished batch of armor, weapons, and jewelry I'd ordered before. Then Iron Dome orders the good stuff brought out. This is Black Rock Spirit, the dwarf royal family's private reserve, aged over 100 years. The liquid is ink black and so thick it barely sloshes in the copper mug. Only opened for the most sacred occasions. Iron Dome fills my cup. Fills his. Raises it high. To my ancestor. To my father. To every warrior who fell in the ancient war. And to you, Chung Dong, my brother, who brought back the Forge War hammer, the symbol of our people. I look around the hall at every dwarf face. Iron Dome, the unstoppable warrior king. Iron Fury, the 400-year-old grand elder who gave me his father's ring. Iron Anvil, the greatest forge master alive, hugging the ancestral hammer like a child reunited with a lost treasure. Iron Stone, the man who's never left his forge, who just bowed to me in silence. I've known these people for only a few months. But some things aren't measured by time. I say nothing. I raise the cup. I drink it all. BlackRock's spirit hits my throat like swallowing a branding iron. The burn goes from my tonsils straight to my stomach lining. Tears nearly blast out of my eyes, but I hold them back. The return of the ancestral hammer sends the entire dwarf kingdom into celebration. I drink and drink and drink until the world goes sideways and I lose consciousness completely. A white light appears. I get pulled back to reality, blackout drunk, probably drooling on my folding cot. But as consciousness fades, one question lingers in the back of my bombed-out brain. The undead race from 10,000 years ago. Will they ever try to invade Aldous again? And if they do, does that sealed leader's death scream I witnessed mean the seal is weakening? Questions for sober Chengdong. Current Chengdong is out. I wake up from my interdimensional hangover around noon. That BlackRock spirit hits different. And by different I mean it feels like a dwarf used my skull as an anvil. The undead race question is still floating in my brain like an unwanted pop-up notification, but I shake it off. Problems for future me. Current me has a shop to run. I unpack the new batch of goods from the dwarves and start arranging them on display. And I gotta say, Ironstone has outdone himself this time. He made a Zodiac series. 12 constellation-themed silver armor sets. Aries with curled ramhorn helmets. Leo with main-style shoulder guards. Scorpio with a wicked barbed-tail bracer. Each one hand-forged with that signature elf fine meets dwarf metal fusion style. They look incredible. Top shelf gets the matching elven silver jewelry, vine necklaces, leaf earrings, moonlight bracelets, all glowing under the fluorescent lights like they're from a fantasy movie prop department with an unlimited budget. I step back and admire my handiwork. This shop has come a long way from the days when mineral water and instant noodles sat next to elven armor like some kind of interdimensional convenience store. Now the daily supplies are shoved into a corner and the prime real estate is all fantasy craftsmanship. I even hung a hand-painted wooden sign on the wall. Private custom, hand-forged, approximately 15-day production cycle. Look at me. A real businessman. The next 2 weeks settle into a beautiful rhythm. Days. Run the shop, take orders. Nights. Teleport to Dwarf Kingdom, deliver supplies, pick up finished custom goods. Rinse, repeat, profit. Then the COS exhibition happens and everything explodes. Zhao Lihai and Xiaolei organized a cosplay exhibition in the capital's anime scene, and Yunqi wore one of my elven silver armor sets on the main stage. Under the spotlights, the silver plates reflected this ethereal halo, and the camera flashes from the audience literally never stopped. Zhao Lihai stood next to her holding that decorative greatsword looking like the world's happiest bodyguard, completely unaware that his role was accessory to the pretty girl. The photos hit the internet, and the comment section went nuclear. Has to be CGI. Must be Japanese custom work. Then one metalworking expert wrote an entire essay analyzing the forging patterns and engravings, concluded it was definitely not machine-stamped, and tagged a bunch of ancient weapons restoration influencers. Xiaolei, marketing genius that she is, casually dropped a DM for pricing in the comments. Her inbox didn't stop buzzing all night. Within a week, 7 or 8 groups of customers showed up at my door. Cosplay celebrities, cold weapons collectors, girls who just wanted the elven jewelry. My favorite encounter? This couple. Purple twin-tailed girlfriend picks up a vine necklace, holds it up to the light. Babe, does this look good? Would it match that white dress I bought? Her boyfriend is standing right there, but his eyeballs are magnetically locked onto the Scorpio armor set, specifically that barbed tail bracer. And he's responding on pure autopilot. Looks great. Yeah, super pretty. She sees he's not even looking at her, follows his gaze to the armor, and smacks his arm. Hey, where are you looking? I asked about the necklace. He snaps back like a man waking from hypnosis. Huh? Oh yeah, it's beautiful. You look great in everything. Eyes already drifting back to the armor. She rolls her eyes into another dimension, gives up on him, and turns to me. Boss, I'll take the vine necklace, leaf earrings, moonlight bracelet, and the tricolor crystal ring. Wrap them up before I can even grab a bag. Boyfriend sprints to the Scorpio armor. Boss, how much for this? I want it. 132,000. Hand-forged, 15-day custom period. 15 days? Can you rush it? I need it next week. I'll pay extra. Rush job is 10 days. 20,000 surcharge. Done. Take my deposit right now. He's scanning the QR code before I finish the sentence. His girlfriend is standing behind him, clutching her jewelry bag, shaking her head with the resignation of a woman who has accepted her fate. I swear, you see armor and your brain stops working. He pays, does a little victory laugh, throws his arm around her shoulder. Babe, imagine me wearing this at the next convention. 100% head turn rate. We'll be the hottest couple there. I'm writing the receipt and laughing internally. This couple just dropped a small fortune and neither one regrets a thing. In just 2 weeks, my shop revenue blows past 10 million. First thing I do, pay off every last cent of debt. Gone. Obliterated. Every credit card, every loan, every soul-crushing 3 a.m. anxiety attack staring at overdue notices. Finished. I put my phone down on the counter and exhale for what feels like the first time in months. From being scammed by Li Hao into crippling debt, to dodging collection calls and lawyers' letters, to this, debt-free with a booming interdimensional craft business. Wild doesn't even begin to cover it. And speaking of Wild, Zhao Lihai's ongoing sibling saga continues to be my favorite entertainment. So here's what happened. I had the dwarves forge some rare gold elven jewelry as a test run. Limited edition stuff. Zhao Lihai saw it, bought it immediately, and gifted it all to Yunxi. Yunxi, being Yunxi, accepted gracefully with a quiet, "Thank you," and put it on like it was no big deal. But when Xiaolei found out, oh boy, one afternoon, Zhao Lihai is hiding in my shop playing with a new sword sample, fantasizing about how cool he'll look in full armor, completely oblivious to the incoming destruction. Xiaolei strolls in wearing the sweetest, most innocent, most terrifyingly angelic smile I have ever seen on a human face. Zhao Lihai sees that smile and nearly drops the sword. 20-plus years of being this girl's brother have taught him one universal truth. The sweeter her smile, the harder the hammer drops. The shop atmosphere freezes. I am fully locked in for this show. Xiaolei draws out her words like honey dripping off a knife. Bro, I heard you've been super generous lately. Gave Cloud Shijia those rare golden elven pieces, huh? Zhao Lihai's pupils dilate. Full deer in headlights mode. Eyes darting everywhere except at his sister. Why yeah, just a couple pieces, casual gift, no big deal. Oh, no big deal at all. She steps closer, smile intensifying. I was just curious. Does the great Zhao Lihai remember that he has an actual, living, breathing biological sister? Of course I remember. His survival instinct kicks in at maximum speed. Correct answer. She blinks sweetly. So here's my follow-up question. Has your devoted, always available, never complaining biological sister ever received even half a piece of golden elven jewelry from you? Direct hit. Critical damage. Zhao Lihai's mouth opens and closes like a dying fish. Nothing comes out. His eyes are desperately scanning the room for an escape route that doesn't exist. I'm behind the counter with a bag of sunflower seeds, cracking them one by one, ears at maximum deployment. This is better than any drama series. Zhao Lihai starts shooting me desperate SOS glances. Help me, please. I will pay you. I look down at my seeds. Count them carefully. 1, 2, 3. I am Switzerland. I am neutral. I do not interfere in sibling warfare. I am here for the show. Abandoned by his only potential ally, Zhao Lihai attempts a pathetic defense. It wasn't a special gift. It was a thank you. Yunxi helped me pick cosplay outfits. I was just showing gratitude. Xiaolei's smile somehow gets even more dangerous. She pulls out her phone, opens her photo album, and shoves the screen in his face. Oh, really? Then let's review the historical record. Who has attended every single convention as your full-time assistant? Who adjusted your shoulder armor, fixed your skirt plates, stood on tiptoes to attach your cape, and organized countless outfits for you? Every single time. The photos are all Xiaolei, running around, fixing his gear, doing all the work. Yunxi appears in maybe 2 pictures, casually helping in the background. Evidence, overwhelming. Defense, collapsed. Zhao Lihai stares at the photo album, shoulders slumping in total defeat. You cannot argue with a sister who keeps receipts. To make amends, he grits his teeth and orders a full set of top-tier golden elven jewelry. Necklace, earrings, bracelet, ring, everything maxed out with the finest vine engravings. Then he has a brilliant idea. He pulls me aside and whispers, "Bro, engrave this on the inside of the bracelet. To my dearest sister, your brother was wrong. I look at him. That's way too many characters. The inside of a bracelet is tiny. The text will be microscopic. His face splits into the most devious grin. Exactly. The smaller the better. I want it so tiny, she needs a magnifying glass to read it. By the time she accidentally discovers it in 2 weeks, she won't even be mad anymore. This is the perfect half-effort apology. I stare at this man. This is peak human laziness elevated to an art form. Only Zhao Lihai could weaponize font size as an apology strategy. When I relay this to Iron Stone, the dwarf craftsman stares at the engraving instructions in complete bewilderment. He sends his apprentice back with a message. Your human interpersonal relationships are far too complicated and strange. I laugh and reply. This is called sibling love. The apprentice looks confused. So does he fear his sister or love his sister? My precise summary. Both. Simultaneously. Neither is optional. Just when business is booming and life is finally good, someone I did not expect walks into my shop. It's a quiet afternoon. I'm behind the counter checking potato logistics on my phone. Door opens. A girl in her early 20s walks in. Cream-colored knit dress, long hair pinned back with a silver clip, quiet and elegant presence, carrying a brown leather handbag. Zhou Muning. She drifts through the shop at a leisurely pace, eyes resting on each item without rushing or judging, just appreciating, like she's visiting a gallery. She stops at the jewelry display case. It's Ironstone's newest batch, a complete elven-style set with a moonstone pendant necklace, ginkgo leaf studs, hair-thin silver chain bracelet, and a ring with 3 different colored crystals. Each piece shares a unified design language, but with subtle individual variations. Boss, may I see these? I open the case and set the display tray in front of her. She picks up the moonstone necklace and, instead of holding it up to her neck like every other customer, flips it over and runs her finger along the solder joint on the silver setting. This girl knows what she's looking at. This solder point isn't electric welding, she observes. Correct. Pure handwork. Every piece individually forged. No machine processing. She nods, picks up the bracelet, holds it to the light. The hair-thin silver wires glow softly, the twisted patterns impossibly uniform. I've never seen this wire drawing technique before, she says thoughtfully. The wire was drawn and then twisted with at least 3 strands, each under equal tension, and then annealed after twisting. You'd need decades of experience to achieve this. I am genuinely shocked. Plenty of people can spot hand soldering, but identifying the annealing step? That's someone who's actually studied how jewelry is manufactured at the metallurgical level. She tries on the bracelet and ring, smiles softly, and then casually points at everything left on the tray. I'll take the full set. One of each. Necklace, earrings, bracelet, ring. Then she walks to another shelf. Picks up a pair of dwarf silver hair clips. These 2. Then 2 decorative pieces, an elven floral candlestick and a dwarf warhammer paperweight. These 2. Her shopping style is completely different from anyone else. No price questions. Just examines the craftsmanship, decides she wants it, takes it. Where Xiaolei shops with enthusiasm and shared excitement. Zhou Muning shops like she's quietly adding exhibits to a private museum. By the time I'm done calculating, there are over a dozen items on the counter. She hands me a bank card. I notice her handbag is from a niche domestic luxury brand. Extremely subtle design that only people who know would recognize. Perfectly matches her understated personality. Then, after packing everything up, she doesn't leave. She reaches into her bag, pulls out a small velvet pouch, and tips out a gold coin. One of mine. One I sold months ago. The wedge-shaped text is clearly visible under the lights. Boss Chung, you should recognize this coin. She places it on the counter. It was submitted through one of my family's businesses. I lean against the counter. Say nothing. She doesn't push. Instead, she points at the text on the coin. I've had this writing analyzed. It doesn't belong to any known civilization. But I've seen a similar writing system on a collection of clay tablets from an unconfirmed archaeological site in South America. Do you think there could be a connection? My internal alarm pings. She didn't say, ancient text. She said, clay tablet text. That's specific. She might have connections to Yi Zhiqiu's research circles. Yi Zhiqiu's institute, Huang Wenbao's coin-buying operation, Zhou Muning's private collection. All these seemingly unrelated people and events are slowly weaving together into a web all connected by those coins I sold when I was desperate for cash. Past me really had no idea what kind of dominoes he was setting up. I stick to my classic script. I really don't know where these coins came from. I was in debt and had to sell my grandfather's old collection. Zhou Muning studies me for a long moment, then puts the coin back in the velvet pouch and says two quiet words. How interesting. That's the exact same thing Grandpa Zhao said. Rich people and their ominous two-word reviews of my life, I swear. As I walk her to the door carrying her bags, she says something that stops me cold. Boss Chung, in this era, there's almost nobody left who can produce craftsmanship at this level. Every item in your shop, setting aside the question of production date, could be a centerpiece in any museum collection. Yet you display them in a small shop with price tags. Either you don't understand their value, or you do understand but don't care. I'm inclined toward the latter. If you ever want to talk about where they truly come from, you're always welcome. She takes her bags and walks away. The shop goes quiet. I stand there processing. Grandpa Zhao recognizes quality. Yi Zhiqiu investigates origins. But Zhou Muning? She's seen through everything and is simply choosing to wait patiently. 3 different approaches. 3 different people, all circling closer and closer to my secret. Meanwhile, I'm juggling the shop by day, teleporting to the dwarf kingdom by night, commissioning custom orders, delivering potatoes, and trying not to get caught running the most insane import business in human history. And then something happens that makes my brain completely short-circuit. I'm driving my little cargo truck to the warehouse to pick up seed potatoes, a completely normal, boring task, when my truck decides to have a breakdown on the side of the road. I pull over, pop the hood, and while checking the engine I glance at the sidewalk and see a live drama unfolding in real time. It's Zhou Muning, the quiet, sees through everything jewelry expert from my shop. She's standing there in a sleek business suit looking like she'd rather be anywhere else on planet Earth. Across from her is this dude, perfectly pressed shirt, not a hair out of place, shoes so shiny you could use them as mirrors, holding a bouquet of red roses against a backdrop of autumn leaves. Very cinematic, very romantic. Except it's the most one-sided romance I've ever witnessed. This guy is performing a love confession to a woman whose face says, "I am being held hostage by politeness." The dude, Zheng Ziming, is doing that. Classic rich boy speech where he sounds like he memorized it off a template. Muning, I've pursued you for as many years as I've known you. I remember all your preferences. I know you collect wedge script gold coins, so I attend every domestic auction, and I've had overseas friends contact South American auction houses for you. He lifts his chin with this self-satisfied look, like he just presented the world's most impressive resume. Other guys only send flowers and gifts. I put in real effort. Give me a chance. I'm leaning against my truck dying inside. This man thinks chasing down gold coins equals understanding a woman. She cares about historical significance and ancient civilizations, and this guy's takeaway was, she likes shiny round metal things, I should buy more. Peak missing the point energy. I'm minding my own business adding water to my radiator, absolutely not part of this scene, when Zhou Muning's eyes scan past Mr. Self-Absorbed and land directly on me, like a drowning person spotting a life raft. Before I can process what's happening, she walks around Zheng Ziming mid-sentence, clicks over in her heels, and latches onto my left arm with both hands. Full girlfriend lock. Her body angles to block his line of sight. I can smell her perfume. This is not a drill. She whispers in my ear, "Help me out. Pretend to be my boyfriend." My brain. Excuse me, what? I came here to move potatoes. I am a potato logistics specialist. How did I get promoted to fake boyfriend in the span of 3 seconds? She gives me 0 processing time, turns to face the shell-shocked Zheng Ziming, and fires. "Zheng Ziming, stop wasting your time. This is my boyfriend. We've been together for a while now. Please stop bothering me." 2 sentences. Clean kill. Surgical precision. Zheng Ziming's face shatters. He looks me up and down like I'm a specimen under a microscope, and his shock transforms into pure contempt. This man has decided in approximately 0.4 seconds that I am beneath him. He tosses his rose bouquet onto the hood of his luxury car with this casual, "I own the world" gesture. Muning, don't joke around. You've used the bring a friend to block me trick years ago. You're doing it again. He shoves his hands in his pockets, looking down at us from his tower of superiority. Even if you don't want to accept me, you didn't have to grab some random nobody to fool me. I'm standing here thinking, Yeah, I'm ordinary, but at least I'm not so annoying that a woman would grab a literal stranger off the street just to get away from me. That's a level of repulsive you achieved, buddy. Zhou Muning grips my arm tighter. Last time was an act. This time it's real. We've been seeing each other privately. There's no reason to lie to you. Zhang Ziming raises an eyebrow, smile dripping with condescension. He turns to me. Well then, buddy, since this is real, I should get to know you, right? What's your surname? Where do you work? What does your family do? Yes. The rich person background check. Because love is apparently a job application where net worth is the only qualification. I keep my voice level. Surname's Chung. I run a small shop. A shop? He snorts like I just told him I sell seashells by the seashore. Entrepreneurial. So is it a chain or a street side stall? Annual revenue? How many properties in the capital? How many cars? Every question is a financial comparison dressed up as small talk. This man evaluates humans exclusively by asset spreadsheet. I almost laugh out loud. Just a small handicraft shop. Just getting started. No chain. No property. No car. His face lights up with vindication. Called it. He turns to Zhou Muning with fake sympathy dripping from every syllable. Muning, you heard him. No house. No car. Shop just starting out. Nothing to his name. And you're telling me this is the person you're seriously dating? Our families go back generations. My background, connections, capabilities. Where am I lacking? You reject me and choose this. Even if you don't want a relationship, don't embarrass yourself with someone this ordinary. People will think your standards dropped. Everything he says is dressed up as concern, but it's all about proving his own superiority. I care about you. Means, I can't believe you'd choose someone without a balance sheet. Zhou Muning's eyes fill with disgust. She opens her mouth to respond, but I beat her to it. Something in me just clicks. Mr. Zhang, houses, cars, income, and assets only measure a person's wallet. They can't measure character, vision, or sincerity. He turns to me, face going stiff. Muning didn't reject you because you're poor, the exact opposite. You grew up privileged, but all it produced was arrogance, narrowness, and a lifetime of self-congratulating delusion. You only ever give from your perspective. You never understand what the other person actually wants. The more you interrogate, the more you compare, the more you prove that rejecting you was the smartest decision she ever made. Direct hit. Critical. Devastating. His smug grin freezes and then crumbles. Face cycling through green and white like a broken traffic light. He stands there with his mouth open, completely unable to form words, humiliated in broad daylight on a public sidewalk. I don't look at him again. I turn to Zhou Muning. Let's go. I'll walk you out. We walk past his frozen figure shoulder to shoulder. I can feel his eyes burning a hole in our backs. Pure venom. But neither of us turns around. 20 meters later, around a corner, safely out of sight, the tension finally breaks. Zhou Muning immediately lets go of my arm, steps back, and starts smoothing the wrinkles in her sleeve. The commanding presence from 30 seconds ago is gone. Her ears are slightly pink, and she looks genuinely embarrassed. She takes a breath. I'm really sorry about that. Zhang Ziming is the son of my father's old friend. He's been harassing me for years using the family connection. Nothing I say gets through to him. I panicked when I saw you and just grabbed you. I'm sorry for dragging you into it. I spread my hands and laugh. It's fine. Happy to help. I just came out here to haul potatoes and accidentally got cast as a leading man in a rich people drama. Totally normal Tuesday. She relaxes. I owe you one. If you ever need anything in the jewelry, antiques, or collecting world, or any other kind of help, just say the word. I nod. Watch her get into a gray sedan and wave as she drives away. Standing on the sidewalk, I shake my head in disbelief. A few months ago, I was being chased by debt collectors with empty pockets. Now I'm being recruited as a fake boyfriend to fend off entitled rich boys. Life is a comedy. I snap out of it and go back to my potato truck. Potatoes won't haul themselves. Over the next few days, I start planning my overseas trip. First destination, Italy. Europe's handcraft powerhouse, Milan jewelry processing, Florence leather goods, Brescia metalworking. If I frame my otherworld items as Italian artisan imports, I can jack up domestic prices multiple times over. I need to register a shell company there as an import intermediary, partner with a few real workshops for photos and paperwork, and create a bulletproof supply chain cover story. Second destination, Brazil. Not only is Brazil the world's core source for colored gemstones, Paraíba tourmaline, imperial topaz, top-tier stuff, it's also the world's largest soybean exporter. If I can set up purchasing channels there, I could buy grain directly from Brazil and transport it to the Dwarf Kingdom. Two birds, one stone. Gemstone cover operations work exactly like Italy. Find real mines, take photos, get receipts. I spend 2 days prepping passport and visa applications while researching everything online. Registering a shell company in Italy, finding authentic artisan workshops, Brazilian gem trading centers in Sao Paulo, grain export ports in Rio. My phone memo has a full checklist. This isn't just a trip. It's building the international infrastructure for an interdimensional import-export empire. Then that evening, I get a WeChat message from Yi Jiqiu. Mr. Chung, are you free? I have something to show you. Meet at the coffee shop on Antique Street. I arrive 10 minutes early. She's already there with her laptop open, showing high-resolution photos of clay tablets. I glance at the screen, and my blood runs cold. The text carved on those tablets is from the same writing system as my Otherworld coins. Same family, just more primitive, cruder strokes, more archaic character forms. An earlier version of the same language. Yi Jiqiu taps the screen. These tablets come from the latest excavation zone at the South American site. Preliminary dating puts them at 4,000 to 6,000 years old, though the margin of error is still significant. She watches my face. The text on these, does it look similar to what's on your gold coins? I study the images carefully. They are similar. Same writing system, different stages of evolution. The tablet text is rougher and more primitive. The coin text is more refined and standardized. Clearly the result of thousands of years of development. I don't confirm the connection directly. Instead, I flip the question. What's your take on this writing, Professor Yi? Her expression turns serious. Our institute believes with high probability that this writing comes from an ancient civilization with no historical record whatsoever. And this civilization's technological level far exceeded any known civilization on Earth during the same period. She pulls up another photo. On the back of one tablet, embedded in the clay, is an ultra-fine metal wire, diameter less than 0.1 millimeters, with precisely arranged surface patterns. 4,000 to 6,000 years ago, no civilization on Earth could produce metal wire drawing at this precision. She closes the laptop and looks at me. This discovery is enough to rewrite human civilization history. Mr. Chung, we're working on something monumental. If you're willing to cooperate, I can show you much more. I pause. Don't commit. I need some time to think about it. Walking out of the cafe, my mind is racing. Here's the math problem that doesn't add up. Those tablets are 4,000 to 6,000 years old. My Otherworld coins are at least 10,000 years old, from the era of the Ancient War. If both texts truly share the same origin, the timeline makes no sense. The older, more evolved text is on another continent in another dimension, and the younger, more primitive version showed up on Earth thousands of years later. How did all this writing end up on Earth? Who brought it here? And why? This is getting way bigger than potato logistics. Back at the shop, Zhao Lihai calls. His grandfather is obsessed with my weapons and armor, talks about them every day, and wants to invite me over for tea to discuss craftsmanship details. Oh, and Grandpa Zhao has a collector friend, an expert in ancient metalworking, who's heard about the treasures and wants to come have a look too. I agree and set it for next Monday afternoon. After hanging up, I think it through. Grandpa Zhao's collector network runs deeper than I imagined. If I can tap into the high-end collector market through him, I'll never have trouble selling Otherworld goods. But the flip side? The more expert the buyer, the sharper their eye. One tiny craft anomaly, one detail that doesn't match any known earthly tradition, and my secret blows wide open. I need to study forging theory with iron anvil fast, or I won't be able to answer their questions without fumbling. Visa's still processing. Got a few days to kill. Night comes. Alarm set. Gear up. Necklace on. Crystal in hand. 11:58. Eyes closed. Midnight. Consciousness out. Let's go visit some dwarves. Eyes open. Freezing. I'm standing on top of a snow-covered mountain peak in what feels like -50 degrees, shaking so hard my teeth might vibrate out of my skull. I activate the positioning crystal immediately. No sightseeing today, nope, and teleport straight to the Dwarf King's Hall, where the warmth hits me like a hug from a furnace. Iron Dome is in the middle of a war council, and the news is bad. One of the elders reports, the kobolds reinforced their camp, doubled its size. We sent a warning, told them they're blocking our main road, and if they don't leave, we attack. They completely ignored us. They now have 250,000 troops, Iron Dome's response. Bring our garrison to 150,000. Load every crossbow turret on the walls. We have enough arrows and stone ammunition stored in the mining tunnels to fight for half a year. But if they still won't move, we charge out and make them. I'm thinking, this is escalating fast. Then a dwarf messenger sprints into the hall holding a green leaf, an elven magical letter. The elvish equivalent of an urgent telegram. Iron Dome reads it. His face gets darker with every line. It's worse than we thought. The road between the elven forest and our mountains has also been completely blocked. This time it's the Pighead tribe, bigger than kobolds, stronger fighters, better equipment. They've built a fortified blockade at the northeast entrance of the elven forest, chopped down huge swaths of trees for their camp, and cut all communication between us and the elves. He slams the letter on the stone table. We and the elves are in the exact same situation, both trapped in our own territories. Neither can help the other. My heart drops, and I immediately ask the question that's been eating at me. Any news about Celine? Iron Dome reads the last paragraph of the letter, and his brow relaxes slightly. Says here a female elf who was kidnapped by human slave traders escaped and made it back to the elven forest a few months ago. Description matches what you told us. She's recovering from her injuries. I exhale so hard I almost deflate. She's safe. She made it home. Then Iron Dome reads more and lets out a cold laugh. The human empire has finally stepped in, but not to fight. They sent a royal envoy to mediate between the Diana Kingdom and the Minotaurs, proposing a ceasefire. Minotaurs pull back from the northernmost occupied territory. Diana's army retreats 30 kilometers south, and they create a demilitarized buffer zone in between. They've invited us dwarves and the elves as third-party witnesses. Grand Elder Iron Fury snorts. Since when is the human empire so generous? Diana is their key vassal state. If the Minotaurs win, Beastfolk territory pushes right up to the empire's border. Plus, Diana's northern region is the trade highway connecting humans, dwarves, and elves. War means they lose massive tax revenue. They're not mediating out of goodness. They're protecting their wallet. Iron Dome nods. True. But regardless of their motives, a ceasefire benefits us. If the Minotaurs withdraw, some northern passages reopen and we can trade with the elves again. Grand Elder, send a response tomorrow. We'll participate as witnesses. After the War Council, Iron Dome takes me to the experimental fields and my jaw drops. The potato plants are flowering, pale purple and white blossoms covering the entire hillside like a painting. Iron Anvil is squatting at the edge of a row, practically vibrating with excitement. The tubers have started forming. 2 more months, and we harvest the first batch. The cabbages, radishes, and pumpkins all survive too. The cabbages are already palm-sized. I spot a few fist-sized baby pumpkins on the vine and squat down to check the leaves. Growth rate is even better than I expected. Turns out earth crops love mineral-rich dwarf mountain soil. Who knew potatoes and pumpkins would thrive in a fantasy world? Back in the hall, Ironstone has the finished custom orders ready. Zhao Lihai's tailored light armor with adjusted shoulders and waist. Grandpa Zhao's custom longsword, shortened by 3 finger widths, 30% lighter, vine-patterned handle with elven-style guard. Gold jewelry pieces, some with gemstone inlays. I inspect everything, flawless as always. That dwarf hand-forged weight and texture is something machines will never replicate. The new batch of 12 Zodiac silver armors is done too. My secret plan: paint them gold back in the real world and sell them as golden holy armor. Anime fans are going to lose their minds. I hit the training cavern for combat aura practice. Iron Dome demonstrates fire attribute aura with the Forge War hammer. One swing at a steel training dummy, and red aura explodes from the hammerhead, leaving a crater. Terrifying. Beautiful. I want that. He tells me to try channeling space aura into a weapon. I sit cross-legged, circulate my energy, and push it into an ordinary dagger. The aura touches the blade and immediately disperses. The dagger sits there looking completely unimpressed. Space attribute is like that in the early stages, Iron Dome size. Keep practicing. Build resonance between the aura and the weapon. Remember the feeling. On the bright side, All this training has actually improved my physical fitness. I used to struggle carrying 50 pounds. Now I can haul nearly 200 pounds of armor and walk for miles without breaking a sweat. The interdimensional gym membership is paying OFF. We drink Golden Spring that evening instead of Black Rock Spirit. Wartime rules. Can't get blackout drunk. We sit quietly at the stone table, each lost in our own thoughts. I'm thinking about Celine. Iron Dome is thinking about war. If negotiations fail, dwarves and elves might have to launch an offensive against the beast folk, which could trigger a full-scale racial war. I break the silence. I'll bring extra food shipments. 100 cubic meters per trip adds up. Iron Dome shakes his head. Food's covered for now. What I really need is for you to establish contact with the elves. I sigh. I've crossed over dozens of times and never landed in elven territory. The continent is enormous and my landing spot is random every time. It's pure luck. We drink a few more rounds. I control my intake this time. Learn my lesson from the Black Rock Spirit incident. Then I excuse myself to go find Iron Stone. I ask him detailed questions about forging techniques, temperatures, hammer patterns, metal grain structures, alloy compositions. He holds nothing back. I'm an honorary elder of the dwarf race and the guy who returned their ancestral warhammer. Ironstone would probably teach me the recipe for his grandmother's mushroom soup if I asked. I memorize everything. I'm going to need this knowledge when I meet Grandpa Zhao's expert collector friend. One wrong answer about forging methodology and my cover story crumbles. Back in reality, life settles into a rhythm. Shop by day, dimensional travel by night. Hoping each crossing lands me in elven territory, it never does. Fielding Zhao Lihai's impatient. Is my order done yet? Calls, and occasionally arguing with Iron Stone about custom order specifications through his apprentice like some kind of interdimensional customer service dispute. I hire a college intern for the warehouse. Just needs to receive deliveries and log them. No questions about where the goods go afterward. The warehouse is stacked ceiling high with potatoes, rice, flour, and cooking oil. My spatial ring gets stuffed to maximum capacity every crossing. The dwarf miners occasionally complain that I switched Ergo to brands. But overall, operations are smooth. Until they're not. Someone notices that my warehouse math doesn't add up. Tons of supplies go in, but the amount coming out doesn't match. Because it's going to another dimension, but obviously I can't put that on the logistics report. An anonymous tipster calls market supervision. Suspected illegal stockpiling or unauthorized goods transfer. Inspectors show up. They find several tons of seed potatoes and a few dozen cases of Ergo too. All perfectly legal. They shrug, remind me about fire safety, and leave. But this is a red flag. I know I can't keep this up forever. A brand new trading company moving dozens of tons of goods with no matching output? That kind of anomaly attracts increasingly serious attention. I consider asking Zhao Lihai for help, but immediately reject the idea. Our relationship is transactional, clean, balanced, no debts. Armor for money, swords for deposits. The moment I ask him for protection, I'm tying myself to the Zhao family. If I go down, they go down. I saw how much they value reputation from the Hu Zhihao incident. Can't do that to them. Instead, I call Zhou Muning. This isn't overstepping. She owes me a real favor, not a business favor, a personal one. The fake boyfriend incident was genuine help that money can't buy. I explained the warehouse situation. 2 seconds of silence on the phone. Understood. I'll handle it. 1 day later. The follow-up inspection? Cancelled. The anonymous report? Vanished. The warehouse manager keeps chewing his beetle nut like nothing ever happened. Not a single ripple. I don't ask how she did it. Some things are better left unknown. I just know I owe her one now, and I'll repay it when the time comes. Her WeChat message arrives shortly after, just 1 line. The warehouse thing makes us even for last time. This scare makes me want to get overseas faster. The sooner I have legitimate international supply chains, the sooner I stop looking suspicious. Monday arrives, the tea appointment with Grandpa Zhao. I prepare 2 dwarf-forged short swords as gifts. Layered forging technique, vine pattern blades, silver wire inlaid guards. Same series as Zhao Lihai's longsword, purely decorative collector pieces. Zhao Lihai offers to send a car. I decline and drive my rented box truck to the western suburbs. Navigation leads me to a mountain estate. Of course, the Zhao family lives in a literal mountain mansion. I give my name at the gate. Security waves me through. My box truck parks in the lot surrounded by luxury vehicles and sticks out like a donkey at a horse show. I grab my gift bag and walk to the main building. Ring the doorbell. The door swings open and Zhao Lihai is standing there grinning like a kid on Christmas morning. Boss Chung. Finally. We've been waiting. Before he can finish, Xiaolei pops out from behind him, hand over her mouth, giggling. Chung Dong. You have no idea. My brother was pacing around the living room all morning. Couldn't even drink his tea. He was basically one step away from dragging a stool to the front gate and camping out for you. Zhao Lihai coughs awkwardly, ears turning pink. I hold back my laughter and hand over the gift bag. Brought 2 crafted daggers for Grandpa Zhao, plus your custom golden elven jewelry set. Zhao Lihai grabs the bag, pulls out the daggers first, admires them for about 3 seconds. This craftsmanship is insane. Grandpa's gonna carry these everywhere. Then immediately digs out the jewelry box and transforms from sophisticated collector into groveling sibling in 0.2 seconds flat. He presents the box to Xiaolei with both hands like a tribute offering. Dearest sister, I was wrong. The set I gave Cloud Shijia was just a casual thank you gift, but this is your exclusive top-tier custom edition. One of a kind in the entire world. Money can't buy this. Please put it on. You'll stun everyone. Xiaolei opens the box with theatrical slowness, maintains a perfectly bored expression, picks up the bracelet, flips it to the inside, and squints at the microscopic engraving. Zhao Lihai, her eyebrow shoots up. You absolute genius. The text is smaller than an ANT. You deliberately made it invisible, didn't you? Playing cute with your little tricks? On my life, I would never. Zhao Lihai's innocence act is world-class. Hands waving frantically. The bracelet is just too narrow. The craftsman physically couldn't make it bigger. It's a technical limitation. Look at the quality, though. Feel that texture. Save it. Epic eye roll from Xiaolei. But she puts the bracelet on anyway. Sunlight catches the gold, and it genuinely looks stunning. She twists her wrist, admiring it despite herself. Fine. The piece is acceptable. You're forgiven this time. Pull that stun again, and you're dead. I'm standing there silently absorbing peak sibling entertainment. This man commands a fleet of luxury vehicles and makes grown men tremble with a look, but in front of his little sister, he's a helpless puppy with zero negotiating power. The contrast is genuinely beautiful. I follow Zhao Lihai through the entrance hall into the main living room. I present the daggers to Grandpa Zhao, who opens the case and immediately gets magnetically pulled toward the blade patterns. And just as he's about to start his examination, a booming voice echoes from the doorway. Old Zhao, you sly dog. What treasures are you hiding? Show me now. A booming voice from the doorway. Everyone in the living room turns. Standing there is an elderly man in a dark brown traditional jacket, absolutely radiating energy for someone his age. Next to him is a young man in a perfectly tailored navy blue shirt, composed and refined. I stare at the old man's face. He looks so familiar, but I can't place him. Then he sees me. His jovial expression freezes. He rushes forward, grabs my hands, and his old eyes go red with emotion. My savior, I've been looking for you everywhere. If it weren't for you, these old bones would be 6 feet under. The entire room goes silent. I'm standing here with a complete brain malfunction. What? Grandpa Zhao's teacup is suspended in midair. Zhao Lihai and Xiaolei are exchanging confused glances. Nobody has any idea what's happening. The young man, Zhou Mukai, quickly steadies his grandfather, who's getting emotional. Do you remember? The old man says, voice thick with gratitude. That lakeside road near the antique market. I was in a car accident. Hit-and-run driver. Remote road. No cameras. Not a single person around. I was lying on the ground unable to move. Thought I was done for. Grandfather, you're saying this gentleman called the ambulance that saved your life? Zhou Mukai asks gently. That's right. He's the one. My life-saving benefactor. And then it clicks. I remember now. The old man from the roadside. But my internal alarm immediately goes to red alert. I'm scanning his every word, every expression, checking if he's about to mention other things I may have given him. Medical items from, shall we say, an alternative supply chain. He only mentions the car accident and the 120 call. Nothing else. My heart slowly descends from my throat back to its normal location. I wave my hands quickly. Sir, you're too kind. I just happened to pass by and made a phone call. Really, it was nothing. Nothing to you. but it saved my life. Young man, what's your name? He asks warmly. Xiaolei jumps in. Grandpa Zhou, his name is Cheng Dong. All the armor and jewelry I bought was made by him. Ah, little Dong. Grandpa Zhou's face lights up. What a coincidence. Since fate has brought us together, come visit the Zhou estate. I must properly thank you. Before I can respond, Grandpa Zhao slams his teacup down on the coffee table. Now hold on, old Zhou. You see your savior and immediately forget why you're here. I specifically invited Cheng Dong today as my guest. If you want to steal him, do it tomorrow. You just got out of the hospital. I kindly invite you over to see my collection, and you repay me by trying to kidnap my guest right in front of me? Absolutely not. Grandpa Zhou catches himself and rubs his forehead sheepishly. Huh. Sorry, got too excited. Lost my manners. He turns back to me, utterly sincere. Little Dong, tomorrow you must come to the Zhou residence. I'll prepare a proper feast. I'm watching these two ancient titans of the capital's elite bicker over me like I'm the last piece of barbecue, and it's simultaneously hilarious and terrifying. Deal, I say. Today I honor my commitment to Grandpa Zhao. Tomorrow I'll visit you. Excellent. Grandpa Zhou nearly jumps. He spins to his grandson. Mukai, get the house ready tomorrow. Proper hospitality for Mr. Cheng. Yes, grandfather. With the scheduling crisis resolved, Grandpa Zhou can't contain himself any longer. All right. Your guest stays. Now show me the goods. I've been waiting forever. Everyone finally sits down. Tea is poured. The two old men descend upon the short swords and armor samples like kids unwrapping birthday presents. Grandpa Zhao has a magnifying glass pressed against the blade, studying the layered forging patterns. Grandpa Zhou is caressing the silver wire inlay on the sword handle, making those TSK sounds that mean an old collector has found something really good. This is where all that forging knowledge from Ironstone pays off. I casually explain the techniques. Those vine patterns aren't carved on after forging. They're formed during the hammering process itself. The craftsman varies the angle and force of each strike to create the pattern in real time. Once it's set, it can never be altered. Grandpa Zhao puts down his magnifying glass, nodding vigorously. No wonder the texture is so unique. Only a lifetime master could achieve this. This transcends simple blacksmithing, Grandpa Zhou says reverently, still clutching the sword. This is art. When I start getting into carbon ratios in different steels and which hammer techniques produce which grain patterns, Grandpa Zhao listens with laser focus. This man has been in the collecting world for decades, and I can see him processing the key insight. My old master uses a complete forging methodology that matches zero known traditions on Earth. Grandpa Zhou can't help himself. He puts down his tea and gives me puppy eyes. Little Dong, you gave both of these beauties to old Zhao. Surely you won't leave this old man empty-handed. I laugh. Don't worry, Grandpa Zhou. I'll have a pair made for you too. The master's order book is just very full right now. You'll have to wait for the next batch. Good. 3 goods. In a row, face beaming like a kid who just got promised a new toy. Meanwhile, the younger generation, Zhou Mukai, Zhao Lihai, and Xiaolei, peel off for their own hangout. Zhao Lihai throws his arm around Zhou Mukai's shoulder. Come on, let me show you my collection room upstairs. The living room goes quiet. Just me and two elderly billionaire collectors sipping aged pu'er tea while they argue about the direction of grain patterns on a sword blade. I take a slow sip and think, this is actually really nice, peaceful, normal. Then I remember that on the other side of my life, there's an ongoing beastfolk blockade, a sealed undead race leader I accidentally vaporized, and a food crisis I'm solving with interdimensional potato smuggling. Peace is relative. Grandpa Zhao invites me to stay for dinner. I politely decline, got things to handle tonight. He makes me promise to come back and make up for it. Back at the shop, I pull down the roller door and start prepping for tonight's crossing. Fun fact about trying to randomly teleport to the Elven Forest. The odds are terrible. I've been attempting every single night, and the result is a greatest hits compilation of horrible deaths. Drowned in open ocean, frozen solid on a glacier, eaten by a magical beast. Each time I die, I respawn back home. But the experience is not getting more pleasant. Tonight's cargo is light: rice, flour, oil, and some medical kits. Beast tooth necklace on. Crystal in hand. 11:58. Deep breath. Eyes closed. Consciousness out. Eyes open. Knee-deep wild grass. Endless prairie stretching to the horizon. Wind rolling through it like green ocean waves. 2 moons in the sky. 1 white, 1 red, hanging over the edge of the world. Nothing else. No landmarks. No forest. No dwarves. I grip the positioning crystal. 3-layer glow. Spatial tear. Blink, standing in the Dwarf King's hall. But something is wrong. The atmosphere in the hall is completely different from every other time I've been here. Heavy. Suffocating. Like the air itself is holding its breath. This is not the usual "let's drink and talk about potatoes" vibe. Something bad has happened. Iron Dome is sitting behind the stone table surrounded by military reports, and the look on his face tells me this is not a "let's drink and chat about potatoes" kind of night. He sees me, gives a curt nod. "No. Welcome back, brother. No. How's Earth?" Just points at the chair across from him. Sit. I sit. I scan the table. Reports from the Mountain Exit Outpost, an elven magical letter, and a mediation progress update from the Human Empire. None of them look like good news. "The mediation is going terribly," Iron Dome says, pushing the Empire's report toward me. "The Minotaur tribe has 2 demands. 1. Hand over the Diana Kingdom's crown prince, the guy who hunted and decapitated their chief's son. 2. Pay war reparations so massive it would drain half of Diana's treasury." Diana grudgingly agreed to the money. But surrender their crown prince? They'd rather keep fighting. Both sides have been screaming at each other across a negotiation table for 3 days with 0 progress. I frown. What's the Empire's envoy doing about it? Iron Dome snorts. What can he do? The Empire only cares about its trade routes. The mediation is all for show. Minotaurs won't retreat. Diana won't hand over their prince. And the envoy just shuffles between both sides delivering messages without putting pressure on anyone. The Empire doesn't want to anger the Minotaurs. A border conflict would cost them real military spending. Losing some trade tax is cheaper than deploying more troops. I stare at the map with its marked blockade lines. But the ones suffering while this drags out are the dwarves and elves. Exactly. Iron Dome's finger traces a line between the dwarf mountains and the elven forest. Every day the negotiations stall, the kobolds and pigheads reinforce their blockade. They've planned this. The longer talks drag on, the stronger their defensive lines get, and the shorter the window for the elves becomes. Once the elves are forced to activate their ancient life tree barrier, even a successful negotiation becomes meaningless. I'm staring at all the intel markers on that map, and something in my brain starts doing that thing where scattered puzzle pieces suddenly try to connect themselves. The Minotaur's convenient reason for war. The pighead's suspiciously high-quality equipment. The professionally designed barrier targeting the elves' specific weakness. The mystery army spotted near the elven forest. The negotiation that's perfectly deadlocked on one condition. A cold feeling crawls up my spine. I speak slowly. Iron Dome. The Minotaur chief's youngest son was killed in the Monster Mountains by Diana's crown prince, right? Right. The prince cut off the head and hung it on his horse as a trophy, displaying it publicly. Even though every intelligent race on this continent knows that's the ultimate forbidden act, the one thing guaranteed to start a war. Right. A crown prince. Raised in a royal palace. Educated from birth about diplomacy, consequences, and cross-species taboos. He didn't just kill a chief's son, he advertised it. Made absolutely sure everyone knew. I lift my eyes from the map and look straight at Iron Dome. That's not stupidity. That's deliberate provocation. He wasn't showing off for himself. He was performing for someone else. Giving someone a result they wanted. Iron Dome's eyes sharpen like blades. You're saying the Diana Prince was ordered to do it? I shake my head. I can't confirm it. But line everything up. The prince provokes the Minotaurs into war. The Minotaurs pin down Diana's main army in the north. Simultaneously, pigheads and kobolds blockade both the elves and the dwarves. 3 beastfolk forces, coordinated across hundreds of miles, executing a plan that fits together perfectly. I keep going. The pighead's iron armor isn't beastfolk made. The composite barrier around the elven forest contains technology from a non-beastfolk civilization. Elven rangers spotted an unidentified military force near the forest with equipment and formations that match an unknown faction. All of this points in one direction. Someone is deliberately isolating the elves and the dwarves. And this plan wasn't improvised. It was set up a long time ago. I pause. Then I say the thing nobody wants to hear. If the Diana Crown Prince was bought or coerced, it means someone at the highest level of the human kingdom, at minimum the prince himself, has established contact with whatever force is behind the beast folk. And the Empire's envoy doing absolutely nothing at the negotiation table? Maybe that's not just about saving money. Maybe the Empire is watching from the sidelines on purpose. Maybe someone inside the Empire is actively pushing this stalemate. The hall goes dead quiet. Iron Dome says nothing for a very long time. Grand Elder Iron Fury's brow is knotted so tight it might never untangle. The dwarf generals are looking at each other with expressions that say, "I really wish he hadn't said that." Iron Dome's voice drops low. If that's true, then we're not just facing beast folk. If the human kingdoms have been infiltrated, and the beast folk are being used as pawns, and the elves are being sealed away, then the dwarves are next. Which is why cutting off the food supply to elves and dwarves was not a coincidence, I say, standing up and planting both hands on the stone table. Someone is trying to starve you into weakness before the real attack comes. Whether the negotiations succeed or not, whether the prince was a puppet or not, the dwarf race needs to prepare for the worst case. Double the garrison at the mountain exit. Every crossbow turret loaded. Arrow and ammunition reserves maxed out. If the kobolds attack, the first defensive line has to hold. Iron Dome nods slowly. When you lay it all out like that, the whole picture becomes terrifyingly clear. But I can't confirm anything yet, I say, thinking out loud. I need to get to the Elven Forest. That's where the missing pieces are. The unidentified army, the barrier technology, whatever the elves know that we don't, it's all there. You fortify the dwarf defenses. I'll handle intelligence gathering on the elf side. Your teleportation landing is still random. How exactly do you plan to reach the Elven Forest? Keep rolling the dice. My voice is calm. 1 crossing per day? Eventually I'll land close enough. When I do, I'll make it there within my time window. Iron Dome looks at me for a long moment. He seems like he wants to say something. Maybe, that's insane, or, you'll die trying. But instead he just puts his massive hand on my shoulder and presses down firmly. Be careful, I grin. Relax, I can't die permanently. When this is all over, we'll have a proper drinking session. After the heavy stuff, Iron Dome asks about my training. My space combat aura is growing steadily, but honestly, talent-wise, I'm not breaking any barriers. He doesn't push, says cultivation is about patience, not speed. Then he goes all in teaching me practical fighting techniques. Dwarf hammer fundamentals. Power comes from hip and leg coordination, not brute force. Short blade parrying, close quarters grappling. His assessment? My combat aura is mediocre, but my hand-to-hand skills have gotten decent enough to hold my own against an ordinary human soldier. A few months ago, I couldn't fight a house cat. Now I can spar with a soldier. Progress is progress. We have a few drinks, moderate this time, wartime discipline, while I hand over the rice, flour, oil, and medical supplies. We finalize the seed potato varieties for the next shipment. I lie on the stone bed afterward, brain churning through everything. The Diana Prince's too perfect provocation. The coordinated 3-front beast folk blockade. The mystery army with unknown tech. The Empire's suspicious inaction. All the threads are weaving together into a picture I really don't want to see clearly. Someone, something, is orchestrating this entire continental crisis from the shadows. And the scariest part? I might be the only person positioned to connect all the dots, because I'm the only idiot who commutes between 2 worlds. Somewhere out there, in a forest I haven't found yet, a mysterious army is searching for something. And I have a feeling our paths are going to cross very soon. I get back from the other world, collapse on my cot, and sleep like the dead until afternoon. Wake up, grab the gift bag I prepared for Grandpa Joe, 2 elven-style short swords, and a set of silver jewelry, all proper and respectful, and head to the Zhou family estate. I'm walking toward the front gate when a voice hits my ears like a mosquito that won't die. Zheng Ziming. Again. The same guy I had to fake boyfriend my way past on the roadside. The man whose entire personality is, my family is rich, and therefore you should love me. He's back. And he's leveled up his approach. No more sad roses this time. He's wearing a tailored navy suit and carrying a fancy gift bag with gold embossing, trying to look like a proper gentleman caller instead of a professional stalker. He's standing outside the gate talking to Zhou Muning. Zhou Muning is standing at the entrance of the Zhou family estate. My brain hasn't connected the dots yet. Give it a second. She's wearing a white dress with her hair pinned up by one of M.Y. Elvin's silver hair clips, looking beautiful and completely over it. Same exhausted expression as last time. Same, I would rather be literally anywhere else. Energy radiating from every pore. Zheng Ziming is doing his rehearsed speech. Muning, I'm here officially this time, not to cause trouble. My father specifically asked me to pay respects to Grandpa Zhou. Our families have decades of history. You can't even let me through the door? That's a bit cold, don't you think? Zhou Muning is icy. Zheng Ziming, do I need to repeat myself? Are you incapable of understanding human language? I have zero interest in you. I don't want any connection with you. Whatever gifts you bring, whatever your father says, whatever history our families share, none of it matters to me. Stop showing up at my door. My foot takes an involuntary step backward. Oh no, I've walked into a sequel. I start doing the world's most casual sidestep, trying to silently retreat and take an alternate route to the gate because I am not getting dragged into this again. Too late. Zheng Ziming's peripheral vision catches me mid-escape. You again. His face goes from rejected lover to pure murder in half a second. I sigh internally. Couldn't even make it 10 meters. But the real horror is happening in slow motion on the other side. Zhou Muning follows Zheng Ziming's gaze, sees me, and her expression goes through the most incredible journey I've ever witnessed on a human face. Phase 1, genuine surprise. She clearly did not expect me to be standing outside her family home. Phase 2, exasperation. Her eyes literally say, why does this man appear every time I'm being harassed? Phase 3, all emotions consolidate into a look of absolute determination that sends ice down my spine. I know that look. That is the look of a woman who has just made a decision that I am not going to enjoy. No. No, 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 no. Not again. Once was a favor. Twice is a career. Before I can execute my tactical retreat, she's already crossing the distance in those heels. Click, click, click. And her arm hooks through mine with the practiced smoothness of someone who's done this 1,000 times. Light perfume. Warm grip. My brain. Critical error. She turns to face Zheng Ziming with me attached to her like an accessory. Zheng Ziming, I don't have time for you today. It's not personal. She lifts the arm that's holding mine. Cheng Dong is here today to formally meet my parents. Meet her parents. My brain doesn't just blue screen. It uninstalls the operating system. Last time I was a roadside fake boyfriend for a 5-minute scene. A cameo role. Background extra at best. Now I've been promoted to meeting the family. That's not an upgrade. That's skipping straight to the final boss. And that's when the final puzzle piece slams into place with the force of a dwarf warhammer. Zhou Muning. Zhou family estate. She's standing at the door of the Zhou residence because she's a Zhou. The quiet jewelry expert who saw through everything in my shop. The woman I fake dated on a sidewalk. The granddaughter of the old man whose life I saved. I was invited here by her grandfather. I am literally carrying gifts. Nice gifts. Thoughtful, well-chosen gifts in a proper bag. I look down at the gift bag in my hand. 2 hand-forged elven short swords. A complete set of silver jewelry. Carefully selected. Beautifully wrapped. The exact kind of presents a serious suitor would bring when meeting his girlfriend's family for the first time. I look more prepared than an actual boyfriend would. I could jump in the Yellow River right now and still wouldn't be able to wash this misunderstanding off. Zheng Ziming's face cycles through colors I didn't know human skin could produce. His eyes lock onto our linked arms, then drop to my gift bag, and his jaw clenches so hard I can hear his teeth grinding. Last time you faked it on the street. Now you're performing the full production? Muning, you're really going all out to avoid me. You've even staged a meet the parents scene? Zhou Muning doesn't even blink. I don't need to stage anything to avoid you. Zheng Ziming, you really overestimate your own importance. He's choking on his own rage, chest heaving, about to fire back, when the Zhou family gate opens from inside. Zhou Mukai walks out. Her brother, the composed, refined young man from yesterday's tea party at the Zhao estate. He takes one look at the scene. Zheng Ziming looking murderous, his sister looking cold, and me looking like a deer that wandered onto a highway, and his polite smile freezes. His eyes track down to where Zhou Muning is clutching my arm with both hands. The perfectly composed eldest grandson of the Zhou family experiences a visible system malfunction. Long silence. Muning. Who is this? He asked carefully. This is the man I met yesterday, at the Zhao estate, as Grandpa Zhou's guest. He knows who I am. He knows I'm the guy who saved his grandfather's life. He knows I was invited here today by said grandfather. And now his sister is hanging off my arm, claiming I'm her boyfriend. Before I can open my mouth, before I can say, "Sir, this is a misunderstanding. I am a potato merchant. I forge interdimensional trade agreements, not romantic ones," Zhou Muning speaks. Firm. Absolute. Zero room for negotiation. My boyfriend, Chung Dong, I am going to die. Not from a magical beast. Not from drowning in an interdimensional ocean. Not from an ancient sealed entity trying to eat my soul. I am going to die of embarrassment in front of a billionaire family's front door while holding a bag of elven swords and being claimed as a boyfriend by a woman I've spoken to 4 times. The Aldous continent has nothing on the dangers of the real world. My brain is screaming internally. When did I become your boyfriend? We did one fake scene on a sidewalk. And you're a Zhou? I'm here to visit your grandfather because he invited me. I brought gifts for an old man, not an engagement offering. Zhou Mukai's eyes are doing the most intense, what the actual, expression I've ever seen on a well-bred rich person's face. But I'll give the man credit. His social training kicks in after exactly half a second of visible malfunction. The confused smile smooths back into a polished, welcoming expression, though his eyes are still screaming. Explain. He steps forward and extends his hand to me like we've never met before. Pure first meeting etiquette. Mr. Chung, welcome to the Zhou residence. Grandfather is waiting for you in the living room. I shake his hand. The grip is polite but careful. The handshake of a man who just watched his famously ice-cold sister claim a random guy as her boyfriend and is trying very hard not to short-circuit. Meanwhile, behind us, Zhang Ziming has been reduced to a background character in his own romantic pursuit. He's watching Zhou Mukai personally come out to greet me. He's watching Zhou Muning clinging to my arm like I'm a life raft. He's staring at the gift bag in my hand. Perfectly appropriate, beautifully prepared, looking like exactly what a serious suitor would bring to meet the family. 3 pieces of evidence, all pointing in the same direction. It's just an act theory? Dead. Buried. Cremated. His face drains from angry red to the color of ash. His knuckles go white around his fancy gift bag. He stares at me with an expression that goes way beyond jealousy. This is deep, cold, venomous resentment. So, I was wrong last time. You two are actually together? And today you're here to meet the family. His voice is dry and cracked, clinging to one last shred of denial. Zhou Muning glances at him like he's a mildly annoying insect. What else? Do you think I'd joke about family matters and use my elders as props to fool you twice? He opens and closes his mouth. Nothing comes out. Every comeback, every snide remark, every ounce of superiority, all of it smashes against the wall of this scene that looks more real than reality. He turns without another word, walks to his luxury car, and slams the door so hard I'm surprised the window doesn't shatter. The engine roars to life, and the car tears away, kicking up autumn leaves that spin through the air behind him like dramatic confetti. But I caught his final look, and it chilled me. That wasn't the face of a guy who lost a romantic competition and moved on. Hu Zhihao had that kind of, I lost, whatever, expression when Zhao Lihai crushed him. Zhang Ziming's look is different. Deeper, colder, more obsessive. This man was publicly humiliated twice, and he's carved every second of it into his memory. He will come back for revenge. Not today, not tomorrow, but eventually. I mentally add, Zhang Ziming, threat, to my growing list of real-world problems, right between Mysterious Research Institute watching me and interdimensional food logistics. But I can't think about that right now because Zhou Mukai is smiling and gesturing me inside. And Zhou Muning is still attached to my arm with zero intention of letting go, and I am walking into a billionaire family's estate as an alleged boyfriend when 20 minutes ago, I was just a guy bringing swords to an old man. As we walk along the cobblestone garden path, I steal a sideways glance at Zhou Muning. Her face is perfectly composed, cool, unbothered. Like publicly declaring someone her boyfriend in front of her brother and a stalker is just a normal Tuesday activity. But her ears are pink. The kind of pink that starts at the base and creeps up to the tips like a slow-motion blush she absolutely cannot control. The calm, all-seeing, sees through everything Zhou Muning is embarrassed. She catches me looking and her eyes do this tiny flicker of panic, barely visible, but definitely there. And she lowers her voice to a whisper only I can hear. Don't overthink this. Let's just get inside. I'll explain everything later. I can't help but let out a small laugh. Funny, that's exactly what you said last time. Also, you tricked me. I had no idea you were a Zhou family heiress. And now you've upgraded me from sidewalk fake boyfriend to meet the parents' fake boyfriend? That's not a promotion. That's a hostage situation. Her ear tips go from pink to crimson. The icy composure cracks just a tiny bit. A flash of genuine girlish embarrassment crosses her face before she looks away. I have to admit, it's kind of adorable. In a my life is a disaster kind of way. The Zhou estate is old money gorgeous. Ancient architecture, blooming osmanthus trees filling the courtyard with sweet fragrance. The main hall lined with antique calligraphy scrolls and bronze relics that each probably cost more than my entire shop. Zhou Mukai walks ahead, giving me a smooth guided tour. This is an authentic Dong Qichong running script calligraphy piece, passed down through the family for generations. And this bronze Gui vessel is from the late Qing dynasty. The form and engravings are remarkably well preserved. His delivery is calm, measured, every word perfectly placed. The model eldest son of a great family. But I notice his little tricks. In the short walk from the gate to the living room, he casually glances back twice. First at me, then at Zhou Muning behind us. His look isn't hostile or suspicious. It's pure. Big brother just discovered his perpetually single sister, brought home a man, and cannot compute curiosity. And behind us, Zhou Muning is internally imploding. I can practically hear her thoughts. It's over. It's completely over. Mukai saw everything at the gate. He's going to tell Grandpa the second he gets the chance. My brother who investigates everything is going to run a full background check on Cheng Dong. Actually, he's probably already done it. Then the worst realization hits her, and I can see it land on her face in real time like a falling piano. This morning, Zhou Mukai specifically reminded her that an important guest was coming today, to be on her best behavior. That important guest was me. I was already invited to the house by her grandfather as his life-saving benefactor. She didn't need to do the whole "he's here to meet my parents" routine. I was coming in the front door anyway. Her entire dramatic fake boyfriend power move at the gate? Completely unnecessary. Self-inflicted chaos. She added an entire romantic subplot to a visit that was already happening. From the micro-expressions flickering across her face, I can tell she has arrived at the same conclusion and is currently experiencing what I can only describe as the desire to evaporate from the physical plane. The woman who sees through everything failed to see through the fact that I was her grandfather's guest. And I, Cheng Dong, interdimensional potato smuggler and honorary dwarf elder, am about to walk into a billionaire's living room carrying perfectly prepared gifts while being claimed as the boyfriend of the family's beloved granddaughter. The Aldous continent has ancient sealed demons, continental wars, and death corridors full of 10,000-year-old skeletons. But nothing over there is as terrifying as Chinese family dynamics. Grandpa Zhou is sitting in the main hall like a king on his throne, dark red traditional Chinese jacket, hair perfectly combed, looking healthier than yesterday at the Zhao estate. The man was in a car accident not long ago, and he's radiating more vitality than I do on my best day. He sees me and leaps up, grabs my hand, and pulls me inside like I'm a long-lost grandson. Little Dong. Finally, yesterday at the Zhao place was too chaotic, couldn't even chat properly. Sit. 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 Then he turns to Zhou Mukai. Tell the kitchen to add extra dishes. Little Dong is staying for dinner. Yes, grandfather, Zhou Mukai responds. But doesn't leave. Instead, he leans down to the old man's ear and whispers something. I can't hear the words, but I have a front row seat to the old man's face transforming in real time. Phase 1, warm host smile. Phase 2, delighted surprise. Phase 3, the most terrifyingly mischievous elderly grin I have ever witnessed on a human being. He chuckles softly, looks past Zhou Mukai, and locks on his Zhou Muning, who is currently trying to become one with the wallpaper. Little Ning, come here. Zhou Muning approaches with all the enthusiasm of a prisoner walking to sentencing. Gone is the composed, all-knowing Ice Queen. She's been replaced by a girl who just got caught with her hand in the cookie jar and is experiencing every stage of grief simultaneously: embarrassment, regret, denial, and finally, total surrender. Grandpa Zhou pulls her to his side, positions me on his other side, and now he's sitting between us like a matchmaker who just hit the jackpot. He pats my hand with one palm and holds his granddaughter with the other, beaming like the sun. Little Dong, I've lived a long life, and I've never seen anything this perfect. I owe you my life, and you turn out to be my granddaughter's boyfriend? This isn't coincidence. This is destiny. I open my mouth. Nothing comes out. I glance at Zhou Muning. She's staring at her own fingertips like they contain the secrets of the universe. Her ears are so red they might actually be generating heat. You sneaky girl, Grandpa Zhou scolds her lovingly. Got yourself a boyfriend and didn't tell the family? If your brother hadn't informed me, I'd still be in the dark. He slaps his knee, getting more excited by the second. I was planning to set you up on blind dates. Pick out some nice young men. Turns out that was completely unnecessary. Zhou Muning shoots me a laser glare that translates precisely to, don't say a word. Just ride this out with me. I receive the message loud and clear, grab my teacup, and take the longest sip of tea in human history. I am an innocent bystander. I am furniture. I see nothing. I know nothing. Over by the door, Zhou Mukai has his polished smile perfectly in place, but the corners of his mouth are twitching with barely contained joy. This man is living his best life watching his little sister squirm. He quietly pulls out his phone, and I catch this from the corner of my eye. Texts his parents. Live reporting the family drama. In real time, this man is a menace disguised as a gentleman. He puts his phone away, resets his expression to dutiful grandson, and walks back to stand behind Grandpa Zhou like nothing happened. Academy Award performance. So, Grandpa Zhou claps his hands together. How long have you two been together? Tell Grandpa the truth. We both answer at the exact same time. Me. Not long. Zhou Muning. Quite a while. Two completely contradictory answers crash into each other midair and fall to the ground in pieces. We look at each other in pure panic. Zhou Muning scrambles. It's hard to define exactly. The timeline is unclear. I nod frantically. Right, can't really pin it down. Memory's fuzzy. Our coordination is so bad that any normal person would see through it in 2 seconds flat. But Grandpa Zhou's brain is running on pure, destined match energy, and he interprets our fumbling as shyness. He laughs even harder. Well, since you've been together this long and things are stable, shouldn't we start thinking about marriage? I nearly spit tea across the room. I slam down the cup, hands waving wildly. Grandpa Zhou, that's way too fast. We haven't even considered. Grandpa Zhou, he gives me a mock stern look, eyes sparkling. With this relationship, you should be calling me Grandpa. Just Grandpa. Drop the Zhou. My brain, file not found. Zhou Muning breaks. Her entire face, neck, and probably her shoulders are crimson. She tugs the old man's sleeve desperately. Grandpa, stop joking around. If you keep this up, I'm leaving and never talking to you again. Who's joking? He's genuinely offended. Dating is supposed to lead to marriage. You can't just play around. He turns back to me, studying my face with deep satisfaction. Little Dong, I've looked into your background. You're solid, dependable, a good kid. Honestly, I was planning to adopt you as an honorary grandson since you saved my life. He grins. Now I don't even need to do that. You're going straight to grandson-in-law. This destiny is unbeatable. Then his voice softens, and for a moment the playful grandpa disappears, replaced by genuine warmth. Little Dong, I know you're alone in this world. No family, no elders looking out for you. I want you to know, the Zhou family will never look down on you for that. From now on, this family is your family. We are your people. Whatever happens, we have your back. That actually hits me somewhere deep. My parents are gone. My relatives cut me off when I was drowning in debt. I've been alone for a while now. Hearing an old man say, "We are your family," with complete sincerity. But before I can process that emotion, Grandpa Zhou is already giving orders. Mukai, handle this. Pick an auspicious date. Get these two engaged. If a full wedding is too rushed, at least formalize the engagement. Make it official. I want the whole city to know Little Dong is the Zhou family's chosen grandson-in-law. Zhou Mukai snaps to attention like a soldier receiving orders. Yes, grandfather. I'll arrange everything immediately. Consider it done. Wait, wait, wait. I throw my hand up like a student interrupting class. Can we please slow down? We're young. There's no rush. I look at Zhou Muning for backup. She has both hands covering her face, peeking at me through a gap between her fingers with one eye. That eye says, I cannot control this man. I have lost all authority in my own home. You're on your own. I take a deep breath and try the diplomatic approach. Grandpa, marriage is a big deal. Muning and I are still young. Can we take some time to discuss it properly and give you an answer? Of course, of course. Young people decide for themselves. He waves magnanimously. Take your time. Talk it over. Let Grandpa know when you're ready. No pressure. No pressure. Then he adds with a twinkle. After all, it's only a matter of time. Only a matter of time. Those 4 words land on my shoulders like a physical weight. And just when I think this situation cannot possibly escalate further, a bright, curious female voice rings out from the hallway. Our little Ning really brought a boyfriend home? Where is he? Let me see. 2 people stride into the room. A middle-aged man in a dark Chinese-style jacket, calm, dignified, looks exactly like an older version of Zhou Mukai. Zhou Muning's father, Zhou Zhengyan. Next to him, a well-preserved woman in an elegant qipao, eyes sparkling with curiosity and excitement. Zhou Muning's mother, Qin Shuyu. Zhou Mukai told them. He texted them. They came home for this. Her father looks me over with that classic, dad evaluating daughter's boyfriend. Expression, serious but not hostile, measuring but not unfair. He already knows everything from his son's report. Her mother is a completely different story. She walks right up to me and gives me the full up-and-down inspection with the biggest smile. So you're Qingdong. Dad has been talking about you non-stop. Who could have imagined that our little Ning's boyfriend would turn out to be the same person who saved his life? This destiny is incredible. She nods approvingly, practically glowing. Such a reliable, steady young man. Our little Ning has excellent taste. In the span of 30 minutes I have gone from guest bringing swords to an old man, to the Zhou family's officially approved future grandson-in-law, with both parents, a grandfather, and a brother giving me the full welcome treatment. I am experiencing an out-of-body experience. Zhou Muning looks like she wants the earth to open up and swallow her whole. And somewhere in the back of my mind, a small voice whispers, you fight ancient sealed demons. You smuggle potatoes across dimensions. You survive death by drowning, freezing, and being eaten by magical beasts on a regular basis. But nothing prepared you for Chinese in-laws. Dinner at the Zhou estate is a full-scale assault of hospitality. Zhou Zhengyan, Muning's dad, has the butler crack open a bottle of wine that's been aging since before I was born. Her mom, Qin Shuyu, has appointed herself my personal feeding machine. Every 30 seconds another dish lands on my plate. Little Dong, eat more. Don't be shy. This lion's head meatball is the chef's specialty. And this soup, very nourishing, good for the stomach. Try it, try it. I'm being fed like a prized pig being fattened for a festival. Except the festival is my wedding apparently. Grandpa Zhou spends the entire meal grilling me about forging techniques. And honestly, this is the one part I'm comfortable with. I break down the theory ironstone taught me. Carbon ratios, hammer angles, grain structures. And the old man is nodding like I'm delivering a university lecture. All those study sessions with the dwarves are paying off in the most unexpected way. Zhou Mukai eats with perfect aristocratic grace, occasionally making polite conversation, looking like the picture of an obedient grandson. But I catch him sneaking glances at his sister every 2 minutes with barely concealed GLE. Each time, Zhou Muning fires back an eye dagger that could kill a lesser man. But he keeps coming back for more. This guy is fearless. Zhou Muning herself? She's eating rice with the intensity of someone defusing a bomb. Head down, eyes on plate, ears permanently red. Every few minutes she risks a quick peek at me to check if I'm surviving, then immediately retreats back to her bowl like a turtle into its shell. The whole meal is warm and genuine, and I haven't felt this kind of family atmosphere in a very long time. But it's also completely insane because none of this was supposed to happen. After dinner, everyone disperses except Grandpa Zhou, who catches my arm. Little Dong, come to my study. I need to speak with you privately. The study is gorgeous. Floor-to-ceiling bookshelves, a massive rosewood desk, the smell of ink and old paper. Very powerful patriarch about to say something important, energy. He closes the door. The cheerful grandpa face disappears, replaced by something serious and deeply sincere. He thanks me again for saving his life, and then drops the real bomb. Little Dong, that substance you gave me by the lake. I know it wasn't ordinary medicine. Whatever it was pulled me back from death's door, had me recovered in under a month, and even cured old ailments I'd been living with for years. My blood pressure spikes. He noticed. Of course he noticed. The man went from near death to healthier than ever in record time. He sees me tense up and immediately waves it away. Don't worry. I'm not asking where it came from. Everyone has their own fortune and secrets. His voice goes soft and earnest. I just want you to remember, your kindness is engraved in the Zhou family's heart. Whatever trouble you face, whatever difficulty comes your way, the Zhou family will always stand behind you. We are your support. This family is your family. I sit there in silence for a moment. The warmth in my chest is almost unbearable. It's been so long since someone said that to me. My parents are gone. My relatives abandoned me when the debt hit. I've been carrying everything alone. Thank you, Grandpa. The word comes out naturally this time. No awkwardness. Just genuine gratitude. We chat a while longer, then emerge from the study into the evening air. The courtyard is dark, osmanthus flowers still perfuming the breeze. Grandpa Zhou tries to make me stay the night. I decline, got interdimensional business to attend to, though obviously I don't say that part. Zhou Muning walks me to the gate. We stand under the osmanthus tree, moonlight filtering through the leaves onto her white dress, and the silence between us is equal parts awkward and strangely peaceful. She sighs. Well, this is officially a mess. I rub my aching temples. I spent the entire evening being carried along by forces beyond my control. I'm still processing. She looks up at me in the moonlight, and for once her voice is completely unguarded. But seriously, thank you for saving my grandfather. He's the person who loves me most in this world. Then the exasperation returns. He's also impossible to argue with once he decides something. Add my brother fanning the flames and my mom being 100% sold on you. The entire family thinks this is real now. I look at her flustered face and sigh gently. I know. It's not your fault. What's done is done. We'll figure it out step by step. That's all we can do. She nods, something complicated flickering in her eyes. Drive safely. Be careful. I nod and walk away from the Zhou estate. Behind me, osmanthus fragrance drifts on the night breeze. The moonlight is soft and beautiful. But this storm of favors, misunderstandings, and fake romance? It's just getting started. Walking back, I'm replaying Grandpa Zhou's words. This family is your family, and feeling things I don't usually let myself feel. The Zhou family's warmth is different from the Zhao family's businesslike politeness. With the Zhaos, I'm a valued supplier. With the Zhous, I'm something closer to actual family. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but I don't hate it. Then I turn into a dark alley, and my philosophical mood gets violently interrupted. Car headlights flare in my face. 13 guys pour out of the shadows carrying baseball bats and steel pipes. The leader has a buzz cut, a neck tattoo peeking above his collar, and an unlit cigarette dangling from his lips. He checks a photo on his phone, looks at me, and tilts his chin. That's the guy? Break his arms and legs. Don't kill him. My alcohol buzz evaporates in approximately 0.0001 seconds. Quick scan. Narrow alley. No room to run. 13 targets. All armed. Leader has a switchblade already popped open. Old Chengdong. The Chengdong from a few months ago would have been destroyed here. That Chengdong couldn't carry 50 pounds without panting. Current Chengdong has been training daily with the Dwarf King. First guy swings a bat. I sidestep, punch him in the elbow pit. His grip collapses and the bat clatters against the wall. Second guy comes at me with a steel pipe overhead. I close the distance, slam my body into his, and he goes flying backward onto the ground. Iron Dome was right. These guys' movements look slow compared to what I've been practicing against. Dwarf combat training was designed for beings who fight monsters and armored warriors. Street thugs with baseball bats. They might as well be moving through syrup. 3 minutes. All 13 on the ground. Groaning. Rolling. Regretting their life choices. I grab the leader by his collar and ask who sent them. He clams up. 2 slaps later, the information flows freely. Young Master Zheng. Zheng Ziming sent us. Of course he did. Humiliated twice, and his response is to hire 13 guys with pipes. I thought he was just a spoiled brat with an ego problem. Turns out his ego problem comes with a side of criminal intent. This time it's street thugs. Next time, I'm about to go overseas. Once I leave the country, I'm out of everyone's protective sphere. No Zhao family reputation, no Zhou family backing. Zheng Ziming is petty enough and rich enough to cause problems internationally. I drop the leader, dust off my hands, step over the moaning bodies littering the alley, and walk out without looking back. Back at the shop, I sit on my cot and dab iodine on my scraped knuckles from the fight. Just another Tuesday, fake boyfriend promotion, family dinner with billionaire in-laws, alley brawl with hired thugs, and now interdimensional travel prep. I've been crossing every single night trying to land near the Elven Forest. The random teleportation lottery has blessed me with deaths by drowning, freezing, and being swallowed by magical beasts, but in Elven territory. The biggest issue right now isn't food, it's intelligence. I need to reach the elves. Beast tooth necklace on. Crystal in hand. 11:58. Eyes closed. Midnight. Consciousness out. Eyes open. I'm standing in a forest. I open my eyes in a dense forest. Sunlight filtering through the canopy, thick layer of rotting leaves on the ground. I grip the positioning crystal, but don't activate it yet. Could this be the Elven Forest? After weeks of dying in oceans, glaciers, and monster stomachs, did the teleportation lottery finally pay off? I pull out my watermelon machete. Yes, I carry a watermelon machete as my primary weapon in a fantasy world, don't judge me, and start creeping through the trees. But something feels off. The trees are gnarled and aggressive-looking, covered in dark green poisonous vines. The air smells like animal musk mixed with rotting earth. No birdsong. Instead, there's this low, rumbling growl echoing from multiple directions. Iron Dome said the Elven Forest has gentle creatures, I mutter to myself. This is not gentle. I keep exploring anyway because I'm either brave or stupid. The jury's still out. I reach a dried riverbed full of cracked stones and dead shrubs. Then I hear it. Roar. A shadow the size of a building slides over me. The ground starts trembling with each footstep. I peek around a boulder and see a gigantic AP. Brown fur. Body like a mountain. Each step cracks the dried riverbed. It turns its head and looks in my general direction, and the sheer pressure of its gaze makes the air feel like cement. Holy SH. King Kong. I rip the behemoth tooth necklace off and shove it into my spatial ring. In no way I'm letting that beast sense anything interesting on me, and slam the positioning crystal so hard I'm surprised it doesn't crack. Spatial tear. Gone. I materialize in the Dwarf King's hall gasping like I just ran a marathon through hell. Iron Dome and several generals are hunched over a map looking extremely grim, but they all look up at me because I probably look like I've seen a ghost. A very large ghost. What happened? Why do you look like that? I thought I landed in the Elven Forest, but nope. There was a massive ape. Absolutely enormous. I nearly became monkey food. Grand Elder Iron Fury squints. Ape? You don't mean the destruction demon ape, do you? Probably. It was the size of a house, and the pressure coming off it could crush a truck. Iron Dome's eyes go wide. Holy crap. You actually ran into one of those. That's one of the top-tier magical beasts on the entire Aldous continent. You must have teleported into the deep core of the monster forest. Good thing you got out fast, or you'd have become ape manure. He's been hanging out with me too long. His humor is degrading. I'd be offended if I wasn't still shaking. Anyway, glad you're alive. We've got 3 things to discuss, and none of them are good. Sit down. The laughing stops. Iron Dome drops his voice low. First, the human empire's mediation has completely collapsed. The Diana Kingdom's crown prince and the Minotaur shaman priest were assassinated on the same night using the same method. Hearts pierced and removed. Doors and windows untouched. Guards heard nothing. 0 evidence. The Minotaurs are blaming the Empire. Diana's royal family is blaming the Minotaurs. The ceasefire agreement became toilet paper before anyone could sign it. Second, the kobolds are still reinforcing. The Minotaur main army, 200,000 strong, is accelerating south. Kobold scouts have pushed right up to the outer perimeter of our mining tunnel outposts. Third, Elven communications have gone dark. The last magical letter arrived 3 days ago. Since then, the pigheads added a specialized signal-blocking barrier to their camp. Every Elven magical transmission is being jammed. Nobody knows what's happening inside the elven forest anymore. My stomach drops through the floor. Everything I feared is happening. The blockade isn't just a wall, it's a noose. And it's tightening. The pigheads aren't just blocking roads. They're systematically strangling every connection the elves have to the outside world. The prince provokes a war. Beast folk seal off elves and dwarves simultaneously. Both key diplomats get assassinated on the same night to destroy any chance of peace. Every move hits the exact weakness of the four races. This isn't about winning. It's about making sure everyone loses. This assassination technique doesn't sound like something humans or beast folk could pull off, I say. Does Aldous have some kind of dark magic? Iron Dome's finger traces a circle on the map connecting the Dwarf Mountains, the Elven Forest, Diana Kingdom, and Minotaur territory. He stops at the border between Diana and the Minotaurs. The prince and the shaman died on the same night, in locations too far apart for a single assassin. Either there were multiple killers, or the assassin has teleportation abilities beyond anything known on this continent. Grand Elder Iron Fury speaks in a grave voice. If it's the undead race, this would make sense. In the ancient war 10,000 years ago, the most terrifying thing about the undead wasn't their individual combat strength. It was their ability to appear anywhere in the form of black mist. They didn't need to breach walls or pass through checkpoints. They could materialize in the heart of enemy territory at night, kill, and vanish. Iron Dome shakes his head. But that's still speculation. No physical evidence. I think it over. We need to wait for the next elven message or better scout intelligence. But one conclusion is already confirmed regardless of who's behind it. Someone is deliberately isolating all four races and cutting every connection between them. Right then, a dwarf messenger bursts into the hall carrying a green leaf with burned edges, another elven magical letter, except this one looks like it barely survived a fire. The text is charred and mostly destroyed. Iron Dome squints, reading what's left word by word. Elven rangers patrolling behind the Pighead blockade discovered a mysterious army wearing pitch-black armor with faces completely hidden behind metal masks. They move in absolute silence. They are not beast folk. They don't match any known race on Aldous. In one area of the elven forest, the soil has started turning black. Plants are withering. The air reeks of a rot that never dissipates. It matches exactly what the ancient elven texts describe as undead corruption zones. Iron Dome puts down the scorched leaf. This letter was sent 3 days ago. By the time it reached us, it was mostly burned. The blocking barriers are getting stronger. The elves managed to force out one final message, but whether we'll ever receive another, nobody knows. Sending magical letters requires enormous magical power. We dwarves can't respond. All we can do now is prepare for total war. The room is heavy with silence. Then a dwarf guard sprints in, breathing hard. My king. The kobold army is moving. Approximately 200,000 soldiers marching toward the mountain entrance. Well, there goes my peaceful potato farming life. What? Iron Dome slams the stone table so hard it cracks. He grabs the Forge War Hammer, the legendary ancestral weapon we just returned to him, and his eyes are literally blazing. Those worthless dog mongrels. They think my mountain is a playground they can walk into whenever they want. Grand Elder, hold the palace. All units except reserves converge on the mountain entrance. Now, his voice rattles the stone walls. Then he turns to me. Chung Dong, you coming to the front line? I nod. Of course I'm coming. I've been training for months. I've got a watermelon machete, and I've faced an ancient sealed demon lord. What's 200,000 dog-headed soldiers? Actually, when I put it like that, it's terrifying. But I nod anyway. We mount Stonehorn mountain goats, the dwarf equivalent of war horses, and charge through the tunnels at full speed. Half an hour later, we reach the mountain entrance. I look out over the walls and my stomach does a backflip. The valley below is an ocean of kobolds. 200,000 of them, stretching to the horizon. Rusty axes, dull spears, screeching and howling like the world's worst concert. A living black tide pressing against the base of the mountain. The dwarf warriors are ready. Massive gates sealed. Walls bristling with crossbow turrets and catapults. Thousands of arrow tips gleaming in the light, all pointed downward. Then the kobold army parts like the Red Sea, and out walks their boss. This guy is twice the size of a normal kobold, wrapped in black animal hide. carrying a bone hammer that's bigger than me. His face is covered in savage scars. One eye is milky white, and he radiates. I've murdered things for fun, energy. Black Fong, the Kobold Chieftain. He looks up at Iron Dome on the wall and lets out the most ear-splitting cackle. Iron Dome, you old fossil. Long time no see. Didn't expect me, did you? Iron Dome slams his war hammer on the battlements. Black Fong, you brought all these people to MY Mountain. You want to die? Die? Black Fong shakes his head with a smug grin. Iron Dome, you're a saint-level warrior now. You can't just attack whenever you want. That's against the rules. Besides, I'm not here to fight. I'm here to negotiate. Iron Dome laughs so hard it sounds like thunder. You? Negotiate with me. Hear me out. Black Fong waves his hand dismissively. I know you dwarves are tight with the elves. I know you want to help Diana Kingdom. But I'm telling you, stay out of it. He steps forward, raises his voice so every dwarf on the wall can hear. Diana and the Minotaurs? That's between beast folk and humans. You dwarves sit this out, and I personally guarantee not one kobold foot touches your mountain. When we're done with Diana, we'll pull back and throw you some spoils of war. Good deal, right? Iron Dome is shaking with rage. You think I don't know your game? You cut off our supply routes to the Elven Forest. You're trying to starve us out. You think we'll let you use food as a weapon against us like before? His voice booms across the valley. I'm telling you, Black Fong, if you don't retreat, once our full army mobilizes, I will personally take your head. Black Fong's smug grin freezes. Then Second Elder Iron Rock steps up beside Iron Dome and delivers the knockout speech. Black Fong, save your breath. We've seen through your scheme completely. His veteran commander's voice carries across the entire mountain pass. You're not here to fight. You're here to stall. Wait for us to run out of food, then attack when we're weak? Wrong. The Dwarf Mountains currently have enough food reserves to last 3 years. Meanwhile, your 200,000 troops burn through supplies every single day. How long can you last? As long as we hold this pass, you can't take a single step inside. The longer this drags on, the worse it gets. For you. I'm standing behind a stone pillar listening to all of this, and I'm feeling a complicated mix of pride and terror. Pride because Iron Rock just demolished Black Fong's entire strategy with basic math. Terror because something about this whole scene doesn't add up. Black Fong's face goes black as cast iron. He glares at Iron Rock, then at Iron Dome, his bone hammer creaking in his grip. Then he does something unexpected. He laughs. A cold, crawling, skin-peeling laugh that makes every hair on my body stand up. Good. Very good. You stubborn little dwarves are going to regret today's decision. You think holding this broken mountain pass means you're safe? You have no idea what you're actually up against. He licks his cracked lips. His voice drops to something between a whisper and a threat. Very soon, you'll understand what real despair feels like. He spins around, swings his bone hammer, and bellows. All forces retreat. Set camp at the base. The Kobold army pulls back and spreads out into an endless field of black tents across the valley floor. The dwarf soldiers on the walls collectively exhale. Shoulders drop. Grips loosen on weapons. But I'm not relaxed. Not even a little. Iron Dome comes down from the wall and finds me leaning against a pillar, fidgeting with an iron ingot from my spatial ring, brow furrowed so deep you could plant seeds in the wrinkles. Something's wrong, I say. Iron Dome nods, knuckles white on his warhammer. Black Fong is a psycho. Normally he sees dwarves and goes berserk. He'd charge headfirst into our walls just to bite someone. Today he shows up, talks like a diplomat, and retreats? Absolutely not. Something's going on. It's his last words that bother me, I say quietly. He said we don't know what we're facing. That means the kobolds are just pawns. There's something behind them. Something worse. The undead race. Almost certainly. My eyes are locked on the kobold camp in the fading sunset. The golden light is draining from the sky. The camp's outline blurs into the gathering darkness, looking like a sleeping beast waiting to wake up. And I don't think they're here to blockade us, I say, voice dropping. They're waiting for something to be ready. The second those words leave my mouth, a scout comes tumbling down the wall stairs, face white as chalk, voice shaking so badly he can barely form words. My king, Elder Chum. Behind the kobold camp, a massive cloud of black fog has appeared. Everywhere the fog touches, the grass dies. Even the rocks are turning black. Iron Dome and I lock eyes. In that single look, I see everything I'm feeling reflected back at me. Not surprise, not confusion, just cold, bone-deep dread. The undead race. They're here. Not a theory anymore. Not a suspicion. Not ancient history from 10,000 years ago. They're here. Right now. Behind 200,000 kobolds. At the doorstep of the Dwarf Mountains. And the dwarves, the elves, and every other race on this continent, they have no idea what's about to hit them. Well, except me. Because I accidentally wandered into the sealed tomb of their leader and watched him die screaming when something on my body terrified him into oblivion. Which, now that I think about it, might be the only advantage anyone on this continent has. Too bad I have no idea what that advantage actually is. The black fog rolls out from behind the kobold camp, and it is the most horrifying thing I have ever seen in either of my two worlds. This isn't normal fog. Normal fog drifts with the wind. This fog moves with purpose. It crawls along the ground like a living thing, like a predator stalking prey, and everything it touches dies. Grass turns to black ash in seconds. Rocks get corroded. Tent fabric disintegrates on contact. No fire, no collapse. The entire structure just becomes a handful of dust. Then the screaming starts. I've watched horror movies. I've played survival games. I once got jump-scared so bad by a pop-up ad that I knocked over my monitor. But nothing, absolutely nothing, prepares you for watching a living creature have its life force ripped out in real time. I yank out a telescope from my spatial ring and hand one to Iron Dome. What I see through the lens makes my stomach try to evacuate through my throat. A kobold soldier is sprinting for his life. A tendril of black fog snakes forward, catches his neck, and he freezes mid-stride. His skin shrivels and turns black in seconds. Life drains out of him like water from a broken cup. He drops. And then, the part that will give me nightmares until I die for real, the corpse twitches. Violently. Then stands back up. Its eyes are empty black holes. Dark patterns crawl across its skin like worms under the surface. It picks up its axe and attacks its own fleeing comrades. I've seen zombie movies. This is worse than zombie movies because zombie movies have credits at the end and popcorn. This is neither. Cold sweat drenches my back. My hands are shaking so badly, I nearly drop the telescope. My heart is hammering so hard I can hear it in my ears. A dwarf soldier next to me is cursing under his breath, voice trembling. We're both terrified and neither of us is pretending otherwise. They can switch freely between physical form and black fog. Iron Dome says beside me. His voice is flat, calm. This man is watching the apocalypse unfold, and he sounds like he's reading a weather report. I've known him for months, and I have never seen him afraid. I'm not sure he can be afraid. Our ancestral records describe the undead race. The black fog isn't a weapon. It's their alternate form. Any living creature it touches gets drained of life force instantly. Then they inject their consciousness into the corpse. That's not a kobold anymore. It's a puppet wearing kobold skin. I remember the Death God's Hall. The sealed undead leader trying to suck my life force. That feeling, not pain exactly, but something deeper being ripped from your bones. These kobolds are experiencing that times 1,000. Except they don't get to respawn in a storage room. Iron Dome's eyes stay locked on the fog. In the ancient war, the Allied army's biggest casualties weren't from fighting the undead directly. It was from having to cut down comrades who were standing beside them moments ago. From the camp below, Black Fang's voice tears through the chaos. Raw, broken, furious. You lied to me. You lying scum. You lied to me. He's swinging his bone hammer, smashing his own fleeing soldiers out of the way, covered in blood. Impossible to tell whose. Screaming at the fog that betrayed him. The fog doesn't care. It keeps advancing. Patient. Methodical. Like a machine designed for one purpose. And I see the strategy. The black fog is pushing from 3 sides simultaneously, but leaving one side open, the side facing the dwarf stone wall. They're herding the surviving kobolds toward us, using panicked, terrified, desperate kobold soldiers as a living battering ram against our defenses. The undead don't even need to fight. They just drive the kobolds into our walls and let 2 races destroy each other. It's brilliant. It's evil. It's exactly what I'd expect from the species that nearly conquered a continent. Iron Dome sees it too. He roars at the signal corps to load every crossbow turret. Prepare for battle. The kobold camp becomes hell. Out of roughly 300,000 kobold troops, nearly 200,000 are killed and reanimated by the fog. 200,000 puppets wearing the faces of their own brothers, turning on the survivors with weapons still warm from their original owner's hands. The remaining 100,000 are broken, crying, screaming, running in every direction. Complete collapse. Iron Dome stands on the wall and bellows down at the fleeing horde. Black Fawn, listen, if your soldiers charge our defensive line, we will attack with everything we have. If you want to live, leave forces behind to hold the fog, and the rest can shelter outside our walls. Black Fawn, eyes bloodshot and burning with regret, realizes he's trapped. Behind him, Death Fog turning his own people into monsters. In front of him, dwarf walls bristling with weapons. He makes the hardest call of his life. 30,000 warriors, stay and hold the fog. Everyone else, run for the dwarf wall. 30,000 of his bravest soldiers stop running. They turn around, face the all-consuming black fog with nothing but axes and bare teeth. They're going to die. They know they're going to die. They're buying time with their own bodies. The remaining 70,000-plus kobolds stampede toward our wall in pure survival panic. They reach the outer perimeter and, boom, the entire stone wall shakes. Ancient dwarf runes carved into every surface ignite simultaneously, blazing orange-red, and a massive runic barrier erupts skyward, engulfing every kobold in its light. The 30,000 sacrificial kobolds bought just enough time for the barrier to fully activate. The runic shield seals off the black fog completely, but it also locks every kobold outside the wall. Not a single one gets in. I understand instantly. The undead race is everyone's enemy. But these kobolds cooperated with them. They helped the undead isolate the dwarves and elves. They were complicit in this scheme until the moment their masters decided they were more useful as fertilizer. If the dwarves let 70,000 desperate, terrified kobolds inside the walls, one panic, one riot, one moment of treachery, and the entire defense collapses from within. The dwarves would be fighting on two fronts simultaneously. Keeping them out is brutal. It's also the only survivable option. Dwarf strategy, cautious to the extreme, cold to the extreme. The runic barrier and the black fog collide. The impact is blinding. The entire orange-red light curtain shudders violently, erupting with light so intense I have to shield my eyes. Even Iron Dome squints. The rune patterns on the wall glow red-hot, like branding irons. The air fills with the smell of superheated metal, scorched, acrid, oppressive. This is what happens when the barrier hits maximum load. The dwarf defensive shield is holding, but it's screaming under the pressure. Iron Dome's roar cuts through the barrier's shrieking. Iron Anvil. Get every runic artisan up here now. Reinforce the barrier nodes. Hold the line. Iron Anvil. Barefoot as usual, because this man would forge in a tornado and still not bother with shoes, grabs his massive runic hammer and leads dozens of elite apprentices sprinting to the critical points along the wall. They slam specialized runic chisels into the weakening nodes, hammering with everything they've got. Each strike sends showers of sparks exploding outward with ear-splitting metallic shriks, the sound of a barrier being held together by sheer dwarf stubbornness. The black fog tendrils probe the barrier like fingers searching for a crack, climbing the outer surface, testing every inch. Then I see it. My eyes go wide. A single thin tendril finds a hairline gap between two runic nodes and worms its way through. The surrounding runes immediately start dimming, dissolving, the barrier structure corroding at visible speed where the fog penetrated. Patch it. Now, over there. Another breach. Iron Anvil SCREMS, voice shredded raw, dragging two apprentices to slam runic plates into the crumbling node. Outside the wall, the black fog is relentless, dissolving everything, corrupting everything, turning the living into puppets. The entire dwarf defensive line is drowning in an atmosphere of pure dread. Then, crack. The base of the stone wall splits open. A fist-sized hole punches through the barrier. Orange-red light around it flickers and spasms like a wounded heartbeat. Black fog pours through the gap, and in the span of a few breaths, it condenses into a solid humanoid shape. Full black armor. Metal face mask hiding everything. Behind the mask, where eyes should be, just two swirling pools of dark fog, slowly rotating. the first undead soldier to set foot inside the dwarf wall. Standing right here, 10 meters from me. Iron Dome's reaction is instantaneous. His red combat aura detonates outward so violently that the shockwave stumbles me backward a full step. I've seen him use combat aura before. I've seen him crack rocks and dent steel with it. I have never seen him go this hard. This is Iron Dome with the safety off. He becomes a red blur. One stride. The Forge War hammer swings with an aura explosion that sounds like a cannon going off. The hammer punches through the undead soldier's chest plate, through the body, through the stone floor underneath. Everything within a 2-meter radius turns to rubble. No blood, no liquid of any kind. Just a wisp of black fog rising from the debris, hissing softly, and then dissolving into nothing. Iron Dome stands on the pile of broken stone, where hammer planted, red aura swirling around him, and roars orders so loud my eardrums ring. Iron Anvil charges in with a backup runic panel, slams it over the breach, and hammers in 6 reinforcement runic nails. Each strike shoots sparks everywhere with thunderous clangs. The barrier light stabilizes. The glow steadies. The hole seals. But I know, we all know, this is a band-aid on a bullet wound. The undead used one single tendril to find the barrier's exact weak point. Next time they'll hit every weak point simultaneously. They were never trying to break through tonight. They were taking notes. After several more probing strikes, the black fog slowly recedes. Not because we beat it, because it got what it came for. I watch it pull back to exactly 100 meters from the barrier, stopping with surgical precision, like someone measured it with a ruler. This isn't a retreat. This is a predator settling back on its haunches after sizing up its prey. The surviving kobolds, the ones trapped between the fog and our wall, are slumped against the stone, broken, bleeding, shell-shocked. Black Fong sits alone in a corner, staring at the ground, body trembling. All that arrogance from his big speech earlier? Gone. Replaced by the realization that he was never an ally of the undead. He was livestock. The dwarves confiscate every kobold weapon. 2 races that have hated each other for generations now sit on opposite sides of the same wall. Quiet, because the thing behind the fog makes their rivalry look like a children's argument. Iron Dome waves at his soldiers, voice low and cold. Move them to the back mountain valley. Watch them closely. If any of them cause trouble, kill them. That night, I climbed the wall with Iron Dome. The fog has pulled back behind the old kobold camp, but hasn't dispersed. It sits there in the darkness like a patient animal. This wasn't a retreat, Iron Dome says, one hand on the battlements, staring into the black. It was a test run. They now know our barrier's energy ceiling, every weak point, and how fast our craftsmen can repair damage. My throat tightens. So next time they hit all the weak points at once, yes, 2 words, said like a death sentence. In the rest chamber that night, I can't sleep. I sit up on the stone bed and voice the question that's been eating at me. Something doesn't add up. The fog could have kept pushing. Why pull back? There has to be a limitation. Maybe it has a range cap, or an energy cost, or it needs time to digest what it absorbed. Those kobolds weren't allies. They were food. And we're part of the same feeding pen. Either they need time to process all the life force they consumed, or they specifically need to exhaust the runic barrier first before they can fully enter the mountains. Iron Dome leans against the doorframe, listening. When I finish, he nods slowly, face like frozen stone. You see it clearly. They'll hit us wave after wave, grinding the barrier down until it shatters completely. And then, the real slaughter begins. I open my mouth to say more, to strategize, to plan, to do something. White light. Seriously? Now, I'm in the middle of a wartime strategy session, and the dimensional timer picks this moment to yank me home. I materialize in my shop, brain still churning with 100 questions. The undead are at the dwarf doorstep. The barrier won't hold forever. The elves are cut off, and I just got pulled out like a player getting disconnected mid-boss fight. Please hold on, Iron Dome. Next time maybe I'll finally land near the elven forest. Deep sigh? Nothing I can do right now. I wash up, eat something vaguely breakfast-shaped, and collapse into bed. My phone wakes me at noon. The Brazilian visa came through. The shiny new stamp sits in my dark green passport, looking all official and promising. But I feel zero excitement. Because the money problem has reached peak absurdity. Before clearing my debts? Broke. Desperate. Couldn't afford instant noodles. After clearing my debts and banking several million, still not enough. Bulk grain purchases for the dwarves, entry into the gemstone raw market, international shell company operations. A few million yuan is a joke. That's not even the cover charge. I sigh and dump out a pile of dwarf gold ingots from my spatial ring onto my bed. 2 cubic meters of top-grade gold. I do the math. Hundreds of billions of yuan. Hundreds of billions. I am sitting on a fortune that would make actual billionaires weep with jealousy. I could buy skyscrapers. I could buy islands. I could probably buy a small country. And I can't spend a single yuan of it. Because the last time I sold a few measly gold coins, it attracted Huang Wenbao's entire organization, a mysterious government research institute, and the Zhou family's attention. If I dump even a fraction of this gold onto the market, I'd trigger financial monitoring systems across the entire country. Every regulatory agency, every intelligence service, every tax authority would descend on me like vultures on a carcass. So here I am, the interdimensional equivalent of a dragon sitting on a mountain of treasure, except this dragon lives in a folding cot behind a shop counter and is stressed about rent money. I have hundreds of billions in gold that I can't touch, and hundreds of thousands in the bank that's evaporating faster than morning dew. The cosmic irony is so thick I could cut it with my watermelon machete. I need to convert some of this gold through unofficial channels. Quietly, safely, through someone I trust absolutely. I mentally run through every contact I have. The Zhao family, pure business relationship. No emotional debt. Can't ask. Yi Zhiqiu's Research Institute. They've been salivating over my coins since day one. Absolutely not. Huang Wenbao? I'd rather eat the gold raw. That leaves Grandpa Zhou, the man whose life I saved. The man who said, the Zhou family is your family. The man who is also currently under the impression that I'm his granddaughter's boyfriend and future grandson-in-law. That promise of unconditional support might be the only card I can play. Which means I need to visit the Zhou estate again, as the future grandson-in-law, with gifts. Again, I look at my ceiling and groan. Being a fake son-in-law is exhausting. Now I gotta prepare more presents. My head is going to explode. 2 worlds. 2 crises. On one side, an ancient evil species trying to consume an entire continent. On the other side, in-law management and international money laundering logistics. And somehow, the in-law part might actually be harder. My situation is so absurd it should be studied by economists. When I was poor, debt crushed me. Now that I'm rich, regulations crush me. The universe just swapped one type of suffering for another and called it character development. But I need help. And when you need help from a billionaire family that thinks you're their future grandson-in-law, you do not show up empty-handed. So I raid the absolute bottom of my spatial ring and assemble what might be the most insane, visiting the in-laws, gift package in human history. 2 sets of elven royal gold jewelry, forged using the dwarf royal family's secret 9-layer gold technique. 3 different shades of gold hammered in alternating layers, leaf vein patterns so fine they look alive, and when light hits them the colors shift from dark gold to red gold to bright gold. These make every luxury brand on earth look like they came from a vending machine. They're leagues above what I sold Xiaolei. 6 bottles of Iron Dome's personal private reserve, brewed with underground river water and wild mountain honey, so thick and fragrant that one whiff could make a sommelier cry. I cork them with oak stoppers and seal them with beeswax to lock in the flavor. 4 Grandpa Zhou specifically, 3 otherworld coins, gold, silver, and copper, spanning 3,000 years of Aldous civilization. A complete minting sample set that money literally cannot buy. For Zhou Mukai, the big brother/future brother-in-law, who loves torturing me. Another 6 bottles of the same good stuff. Can't show up without bribing the guy who texts your fake girlfriend's parents in real time. I look at my pile of gifts and laugh bitterly. Normal people bring cigarettes, wine, and fruit when asking for favors. I'm hauling interdimensional artifacts. Only in my life. I call ahead. Grandpa, it's Chung Dong. Are you free today? I'd like to visit, and there's something small I wanted to discuss. His laugh booms through the phone. Little Dong. Come anytime. The door's always open. I drive to the Zhou estate, and the whole family is gathered in the living room having tea. The moment I walk in, everyone beams with warm smiles and genuine welcomes. Everyone except Zhou Muning. She's curled up in the corner of the sofa, And the instant I step through the door, her eyes start doing that panic-darting thing. Looking at the window, looking at her teacup, looking at the ceiling, looking at anything that isn't me. Her ears are pink. She's pretending to drink water with the concentration of someone performing brain surgery. The trauma from the surprise meet the parents incident is real and lasting. I feel her pain. I genuinely do. But the undead race is literally knocking on the dwarves' door. The runic barrier could collapse any day. I'm sitting on hundreds of billions in untouchable gold while my bank account bleeds out, and I need this family's help. So embarrassment? I'll eat it. I present the coin set to Grandpa Joe first. He opens the box, and his eyes go wide. He tilts the coins under natural light, running his fingers over each one, getting more excited by the second. Fascinating. Fascinating. Little Dong, these are extraordinary. This oldest one, the minting technique is completely primitive, no machine marks whatsoever, but the purity is incredibly high. The other two have progressively refined designs from clearly different eras. This man identifies 3,000 years of Aldous metallurgical evolution in 30 seconds. His eyes are scarier than Yi Zhiqiu's entire research institute. Next, the wine for Zhou Zhengyan. Her dad takes a bottle, holds it up to the light, watches the thick amber liquid cling to the glass, and his composed businessman facade cracks for a split second. Without a word, he very carefully, sets the bottle back down with both hands. I see it clearly. He's afraid of dropping it. This man who's handled million-dollar deals is treating my dwarf wine like it's made of dreams. Then the jewelry. I hand one box to her mom, one to Muning. Qin Shuyu opens hers and literally gasps. Her pupils dilate. She runs her fingers over the golden vine patterns with their tiny mithril star accents and looks like she might actually shed a tear. This craftsmanship is incredible. I've never seen gold with this kind of texture in my entire life. Little Dong, this is too much. Meanwhile, Muning peeks over curiously, sees the jewelry, and her Ice Queen composure shatters. Her eyes light up like a kid seeing fireworks. Then, during a moment when the parents and grandfather are distracted chatting, she leans close to my ear and whispers with this adorable mix of accusation and pouty complaint. Chung Dong, you liar. I blink. How did I lie? She puts her hands on her hips, voice barely audible. You told me you barely had any good pieces left. Then you show up with this? You've been holding out on me. Lady, these are elven royal dowry grade pieces. The only thing above this is mithril jewelry, and I'm not even sure that element exists on Earth. What do you want from me? Finally, I hand the last 6 bottles to Zhou Mukai. He accepts them with a perfectly pleasant smile, then deliberately draws out his words in the most lethal casual tone. Why thank you, dear brother-in-law. So thoughtful. Already bringing engagement gifts. I see. I nearly dropped the empty bag. Full body freeze. Social death. This man has a PhD in finding my exact pressure point and stepping on it. He watches me malfunction, and his shoulders are literally vibrating from suppressed laughter. Professional chaos agent disguised as a gentleman. After the gift-giving gauntlet, Grandpa Zhou, sharp as ever, reads the room and stands up. Little Dong, come to the study. Let's talk privately. Door closes. No more pleasantries. The atmosphere shifts to serious. I get straight to the point. Grandpa, I'm planning a trip to Brazil. Large-scale grain procurement and gemstone sourcing. But the official channels are too restrictive, the paperwork is suffocating, and my capital is limited through formal routes. I need access to private channels, ones that are more flexible. I don't mention the spatial ring. I don't mention the hundreds of billions in untouchable gold. I don't mention the other world. I just lay out what I need. Grandpa Zhou is a 70-something-year-old man who has survived and thrived through decades of business. He understands perfectly what I'm saying and what I'm not saying. He leans back, taps his fingers on the desk, thinks for a moment. I understand. Years ago, I ran mineral import-export operations in Brazil. Spent over a decade there. Eventually sold the mining rights, but all my old connections, the people, the relationships, they're still active. He looks at me, steady and warm. Those contacts specialize in private channels and gray market trades. No source verification, no bureaucratic bottlenecks. Exactly what you need. The boulder on my chest rolls off and crashes into the ocean. I can breathe. Then he says the thing that makes my eyes sting. Your secrets, I won't ask. What you're doing, I won't investigate. But you saved my life, and the Zhou family remembers. His voice is firm, each word landing like a cornerstone being laid. Whenever you're in trouble, come to me. I will help. I stand there in silence for 2 seconds. The warmth in my chest is almost too much. This old man, who I saved on a random roadside, who thinks I'm dating his granddaughter through a cascade of misunderstandings, is offering me unconditional support with 0 questions asked. I bend at the waist. A real bow, not performative, genuine. Thank you, Grandpa. The deadliest problem in my entire two-world operation, the funding channel that had me completely trapped, just got solved by 4 words from a kind old man. He asked me to stay for dinner, and for once, I say yes.